As you can see, of course, over there, there's still some water left. Now today there was, of course, heavy rains across the parts of Uttar Pradesh, and orange alert and a yellow alert has been issued for several districts like Banda, Chitrakoot. Orange alert and yellow alert has been issued. As you can see over there, I'm inside the Nagar Nigam office, and you can of course see the water logging here. Inside the Nagar Nigam, the municipality office of Lucknow. Now, a flash floods warning has also been issued. For western Uttar Pradesh. Today there were heavy rains, of course, across several parts of UP, including Lucknow. Several areas have been waterlogged. Including this is the center of this is one of the central areas of Lucknow, and this is the Nagar Nigam office where there has been water logging itself. With camera person Virendra Kumar Saini, Tanish Punjabi for NDTV.
Moving on, civil services aspirants and students continued their protest for the third day on Tuesday. They are protesting against the MCD of Delhi and the management of Rao's Eyes Study Circle, where 3 students died after the basement of the coaching centre was flooded following heavy rain on Saturday. Now, the Delhi police on Wednesday also removed a few outsiders from a protest site in Rajinder Nagar, where hundreds have been demonstrating to seek justice following the deaths of 3 students. According to some police officers, over a dozen individuals were removed from the protest site as they were identified as outsiders and not really students of any coaching institute. Of course, the protest by students is also to seek justice for the families of the students who died in the coaching center on the 27th of July. This protest has seen participation from more than 400 civil services aspirants, and it has been ongoing since Sunday under heavy police deployment. Meanwhile, a delegation of UPSC aspirants also met MCD Commissioner Ashwini Kumar at the agency headquarters amidst protests, and of course, meanwhile, Delhi Education Minister Atishi also sat down with students and noted down all their demands as she joined the protest where hundreds of students continue to protest, and she also said that additional recommendations will be given, including she also took in some suggestions including waiving library fees, inspecting coaching centres in Old Rajinder Nagar, Mukherjee Nagar and Lakshmi Nagar. A complaint redressal board will be set up by tomorrow noon. That is what she has said, and she has also said that the recommendations will also be given in writing. She added that a panel of students and officials will be given a month to finalize a draft law on coaching centres. My colleagues Ishika and Sakshi Bajaj have more details on this.
We see the bulldozer right here. My camera person is going to show it to you. We saw officials really surrounding the coaching institute with it, doing a sort of testing measure at large, bulldozer justice as we often see, but nothing officially confirmed. Having said that, the backdrop really of the Delhi Fire Service here, the bulldozer right here, we have seen paramilitary force and police officials here gathered in large numbers since morning. We have seen politicians, BJP leaders, Jaya Pradha, Anshuman Joshi, Delhi Education Minister Atishi, as well as Delhi Mayor Shelly Oberoi, all come here, speak to students in solidarity, but students very, very clear and very, very divided at large. Students initially saying that, look, we don't want to see you, please go away. Later saying, okay, please sit with us in solidarity if you may, but give us a concrete solution. We don't want lip service at large. We can see students at the moment gathered with Atishi. Many students who were protesting here since late Saturday night also joining NDTV for a special interaction. You were here on Saturday night when the tragic incident just unfolded. We spoke to you then as well. What are your thoughts with all these politicians and authorities now visiting you all, now giving you all assurances, now speaking to you all, listing down your demands? What is your takeaway from all authorities at large and all politicians at large waking up to the situation and the gravity of the situation now?
It is very sad that it took us 4 deaths of 4 to be civil servants to wake up to this incident, which could have happened earlier as well, and there are chances by how the people are lined up here, it might happen again as well. What we want is that this issue should not be politicized. A clear-cut culprit in this case is the MCD. Without the MCD's agreement, no coaching institute would have extended their boundaries, no coaching institute would have made basements, nothing else would have happened. it is the MCD which is to be blamed for. We should stop politicizing this. The MCD officials involved who had known earlier about this, that this kind of thing is happening, they should be punished, and the punishment should be stringent as possible.
Cabinet Minister Atashi and Mayor Shelly Oberoi today held a press conference where they informed about the action taken so far in the old Rajendra Nagar tragedy. They said that two field officers, one junior engineer has been terminated and assistant engineer has been suspended. Now, on our question as to why this action was not taken before, Atashi replied saying that this comes directly under the junior engineer, and thus, he was terminated as soon as the Delhi government and also the MCD got this information. Now, today, Delhi government also said that they are in fact going to, bring a new act that will be the Coaching Center Regulation Act, so that the coaching institutes can be monitored regularly. Now, not just that, let me tell you that Atashi also went on to blame the Lieutenant Governor, saying that he is the one responsible for the law and order, and thus he also needs to pay attention to this. While on the other hand, let me tell you that the BJP has also now attacked Atashi, saying that on one hand she accepts the responsibility and on the other hand she continues to blame the Lieutenant Governor, saying that this is nothing but double standards. So certainly what we are seeing here is that the politics continues to intensify over this.
Following the horrific and tragic deaths of 3 students and civil services aspirants studying at a private coaching centre in Rajendra Nagar, the LG of Delhi met protesting students at the site. Today, in fact, the LG also assured students that he would soon call a meeting of all concerned, including coaching institutes and officials, to address their issues. After the meeting, the LG issued directions to Chief Secretary of Delhi to head a committee comprising 5 to 6 representatives from different coaching institutions, representatives of students and officials of concerned departments, amongst others. I have my colleague Ishika joining us with more details on this. Ishika is on the phone line with us. Ishika, tell us, how did this meeting between the students and the LG of Delhi go? When did this happen, and what exactly are the assurances?
Well, Vasudha, as you rightly mentioned today, in fact, Lieutenant Governor first met with the protesting aspirants, and after that, in fact, he had a meeting with the officers of the Delhi government and the officers of DDA and, in fact, MCD. Now, after that, Lieutenant Governor, in fact, has now issued directions to the Chief Secretary. Now, as per the direction, Chief Secretary now has to head a committee that would comprise of 5 to 6 representatives, and these representatives would be of coaching institutions, of students, of officials of the concerned departments. Now, what will this committee do? Well, in fact, this committee will address all the issues relating to the regulation, relating to the rental fees by the landlords, the fire clearances, the desilting of the drains, and other immediate needs of the students to, in fact, create a conducive educational environment, fulfilling all the parameters. Not just that, the Lieutenant Governor also now has directed the Chief Secretary to take up the matter regarding the formulation of guidelines or framework for the coaching institutions in line with the guidelines framed by the Government of India and, and the Education Ministry. Now, not just that, let me also tell you that the DDA now has to facilitate the visits for the representatives of the coaching institution at locations like Narela and Rohini, so that this could be a first step for establishment of an education hub, in the world. So certainly now various in fact steps and directions have been issued to the Chief Secretary, most important being that, first of all, a committee needs to be formed to look into all the issues that the students today have raised, and also to work on getting a framework or the regulation done for all the coaching institutes so that these kinds of incidents do not happen again. So certainly we'll have to wait and watch as to in how many days do we actually see some results on the ground. Over to you.
Thank you, Shika. Stay with us for the next story. There is clearly a fallout of this episode, this tragic incident that happened in Rajendra Nagar with 3 deaths. Now, the Delhi government has issued new safety guidelines for all schools in the national capital. The Delhi government's guidelines clearly state that the schools have to be compliant with the master plan of 2021, and they in fact have to be compliant with the provisions regarding the use of basements. If a school has a basement, only activities permitted by the master plan should be conducted there. That's what the Delhi government has reiterated. In fact, it has also said that all gates of the school building must be operational for entry and exit, and the evacuation plan of the school should clearly mark the routes to and from the basement. It has also said that all corridors and pathways in the school should be kept free of any obstructions, and that water accumulation on corridors should also be regularly checked. Ishika is with us on the phone line. Ishika, tell us how important and significant is this advisory to schools, this notification to schools. Clearly, the master plan of 2021 is something that all schools have to be compliant with. So this is clearly, a reminder to ensure that the rules are in place, isn't it?
Well, Vasta, it certainly seems that the tragedy at the old Rajendra Nagar did serve as a wake-up call for the Delhi government, and that is why this kind of a reminder has now been issued for the schools as well. And as you rightly mentioned, now as per the guidelines of the Delhi government, the school needs to in fact comply with the master plan of 2021, which in fact mentions that if a school has basement, only activities that are permitted by this master plan should be conducted there, and all the gates of the school building must be operational for entry and exit. And also, in fact, the water accumulation on corridors and staircases should be regularly checked, and necessary measures need to be taken by the school authorities to prevent it. Now, not just that, the electrical wiring and fitting should also be inspected to ensure that, there is a compliance with all the safety standards to prevent any incident. So certainly now even the schools have been served a reminder for following all of these guidelines, because certainly what we saw there, we did see, in old Rajendra Nagar, it was because of the waterlogging in the basement. So certainly that now serving as a wake-up call for the Delhi government, which now has issued directions to the school authorities as well. Over to you.
Details. Meanwhile, in the Parliament today, remember the budget session is on. So after a 20-hour discussion on the budget 2023-2024 that was presented on the 23rd of July, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman spoke in Rajya Sabha today, a day after she addressed the Lok Sabha. She in fact responded to the budget discussions that played in the Rajya Sabha. Remember that several MPs had raised concerns from the opposition, calling it a political budget. In fact, Rahul Gandhi of the Congress party has said that there was nothing in the budget for farmers. The Finance Minister in fact has listed all the budget highlights, and she has said that there are more funds allocated to agriculture compared to last year's. She has also lashed out at the UPA government, saying that J&K was plagued with the pressure of externally sponsored terrorism, and she also said that there is a historical legacy of poor governance that UPA has, and she said that no revenue base led to perpetual distress on the government. Let's look at some important points that she made today.
The principle which has guided us is the Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas and Sabka Prayas, which continues in this budget as well, and hopefully will guide for the next 5 years. This set of 5 years being very critical in taking the first steps towards building a Vikasit Bharat by 2047. This budget strikes a fine balance amongst several overriding priorities: growth, employment, welfare spending, capital investments.
Moving on to some more news from the Parliament. In the midst of a huge ruckus in the Parliament today, the Congress party moved a privilege motion against Prime Minister Narendra Modi for posting BJP MP Anurag Thakur's video statement on Rahul Gandhi's caste on social media. The remarks were earlier expunged from the proceedings of the House by the chair. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had shared on X a part of BJP leader Anurag Thakur's remarks on Rahul Gandhi's caste during a debate in the Lok Sabha on Tuesday, when the Congress MP made a pitch for the caste census. The notice for the motion was moved by former Punjab Chief Minister and now Jalandhar MP Charanjit Singh Channi under Rule 222, which gives an MP the power, with the consent of the Speaker, to raise questions involving a breach of privilege either of a House or committee or a member of the House.
सर, आपने सेक्रेटरी जनरल को अभी एक कंप्लेंट दी है, क्या वो कंप्लेंट है प्राइम मिनिस्टर के खिलाफ और क्यों वो कंप्लेंट कांग्रेस पार्टी को करनी पड़ी?
ऐसा है, जो बातें ऑब्जेक्शनेबल होती हैं, जिनको एक्सपंज कर दिया जाता है, उनको दोबारा से उभारा नहीं जा सकता, बाहर उसका प्रचार नहीं किया जा सकता। लेकिन प्रधानमंत्री जी ने उसको ट्वीट करके उभारा है, और जो बातें स्पीकर को लगी ये नहीं आनी चाहिए, उनको लेकर आए हैं, दोबारा उनको उभारा है। ये सदन की मर्यादा की उल्लंघना है, इसका प्रिविलेज मोशन दिया गया है।
सर, टाइमिंग पर सवाल उठा रही है भारतीय जनता पार्टी। कह रहे हैं कि जब उन्होंने ट्वीट किया था उस वक्त एक्सपंज नहीं किया गया था।
ये सदन में ही एक्सपंज कर दिया गया था, तो टाइमिंग कहाँ से बच गई?
सर, कितने ऑब्जेक्शनेबल कंटेंट्स हैं जो आपने इसमें
सारे हैं, वो आप लिस्ट देख लो। अनुराग जी की स्पीच में जितने एक्सपंज किए गए हैं सारों को रीट्वीट कर दिया गया। एज ए होल जो उनकी स्पीच है उसको रीट्वीट।
एक आखिरी सवाल, क्या तो कांग्रेस पार्टी भारतीय जनता पार्टी को संसद के अंदर और संसद के बाहर इस तरीके के सवाल पूछती रहेगी, घेराव करती रहेगी इन मुद्दों पर?
क्यों नहीं करेंगे? हमें देश ने ऑपोजिशन में भेजा है उनको पूछने के लिए जो वो गलत करते हैं, और वो पूछते रहेंगे।
Meanwhile, Olympics bronze medalist Lavlina has stormed into the quarterfinals of the women's 75 kg event, now defeating the Norwegian boxer Sunniva Hofstad at the Paris 2024 Olympics. In fact, she's just one win away from an Olympics medal. Time for a short break. More news and updates on the other side.
Co-powered by जमीन से जुड़े 99 एकर्स किया सही डिसीजन लिया in association with Amit. Get the magic of the best working for you now.
Link your payment cards once, collect rewards forever. लोन मिलेगा या नहीं, आपके क्रेडिट स्कोर पे डिपेंड करता है। तो आज ही पैसाबाजार.com पर जाइए और अपना क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक कीजिए फ्री में, क्योंकि लोन की जरूरत कभी भी किसी को भी पड़ सकती है। बस एक्टिंग करा लो इनसे। पैसाबाजार.com, क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक, आदत अच्छी है।
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV news app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. 10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. Banega Swasth India. One world hygiene.
The biggest democratic exercise in the world. Team NDTV covers it from ground zero.
BJP really had to fight a tough election this time.
Unprecedented exercise. Unmatched coverage.
There is no dispute. जनता को decide करना है.
From polling to counting, NDTV brought you the most trustworthy news and updates. Elections mean NDTV. Get ready for the ride of your life. NDTV brings you the NDTV Auto Show with me, Mugdha Mishra. From the fastest supercars to the sleekest new energy vehicles to your trusted daily ride, we cover it all. Every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. and Sunday at 8:30 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7. Your next great escape starts here.
After great victory by Indian team, and today we are reporting from Mohali International Airport where we are showing these visuals. Arshdeep हमारे साथ हैं.
बहुत ही परफॉर्मेंस आई सारा दी ते बढ़िया रिजल्ट्स मिले.
We are in the city of Kanpur today because they have their champion back home, Kuldeep Yadav.
Desperation for each and everyone to go there and win the World Cup, and we did it.
NDTV proudly upholds its legacy of trust and credibility. According to the prestigious Reuters Institute's Digital News Report 2024, NDTV is the top-most news platform in the country. Number one in both online and offline reach in India. Beating all its competition, NDTV stands for trust. Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV
continued for another 3 days, and on the 26th of July, the state government was informed that there would be heavy downpour which could actually trigger landslides and slush, risking people's safety. Kerala Chief Minister Vijayan, of course, has reacted to this sharply, saying that this is not the time for blame games and that no red alert was issued by the centre to the state. Remember, Wayanad, home to several coffee growers and spice farmers, elephants, several tribal groups, a place in northern Kerala known to have been prone to landslides for years, has also been at the centre of the man versus wild debate. Farmers here have been worried about the impact of unusual rise in temperature during the day and a significant drop at night on the crops, and this tragedy has only aggravated the problems of people in Wayanad. So while all hands are on the deck, clearly a lot more needs to be done, and that's what brings us to what happened 14 years ago, which is a report on the ecology of Wayanad. But before that, let's look at some reactions that played out today.
23 जुलाई को केरल सरकार को अर्ली वार्निंग भारत सरकार की ओर से दी गई थी. 23 जुलाई को, 7 दिन पहले, फिर 24 को गई, फिर 25 को गई, 26 तारीख को मान्यवर ये कहा गया कि 20 सेंटीमीटर से ज्यादा वर्षा होगी, भारी वर्षा होगी, लैंडस्लाइड होने की संभावना है, मड भी रस होकर आ सकता है और लोग इसके अंदर दबकर मर भी सकते हैं.
കേന്ദ്ര ആഭ്യന്തരമന്ത്രി ഇങ്ങനെയൊരു മുന്നറിയിപ്പ് നൽകിയിരുന്നു. എന്നിട്ട് കേരളം എന്താണ് ചെയ്തത് എന്നൊരു ചോദ്യമാണ് ചോദിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളത്. ഇവിടെ വസ്തുതകളെല്ലാം എല്ലാവർക്കും അറിയാവുന്നതാണല്ലോ. അവിടെ 115നും 204 മില്ലിമീറ്ററിനും ഇടയിൽ മഴ പെയ്യും എന്നായിരുന്നു കേന്ദ്ര കാലാവസ്ഥാ കേന്ദ്രത്തിന്റെ മുന്നറിയിപ്പ്. ഇന്നലെ ഞാൻ അതിലൊരു ഭാഗം പറഞ്ഞതാണ്. എന്നാൽ എത്ര മഴയാണ് പെയ്തത്? ആദ്യത്തെ 24 മണിക്കൂറിനുള്ളിൽ 200 മില്ലിമീറ്റർ, അടുത്ത 24 മണിക്കൂറിനുള്ളിൽ 372 മില്ലിമീറ്റർ മഴ. ഇതാണ് ഈ പ്രദേശത്ത് പെയ്തത്. അപ്പോൾ 48 മണിക്കൂറിനുള്ളിൽ 572 മില്ലിമീറ്റർ മഴയാണ് പെയ്തത്. അപ്പോൾ മുന്നറിയിപ്പ് നൽകിയതിലും എത്രയോ അധികമായിരുന്നു അത്.
So that was a lot of back and forth between Chief Minister of Kerala, Pinarayi Vijayan, and Home Minister of the country, Amit Shah. Now, 14 years ago, an ecologist, Madhav Gadgil, who was then the chairman of the Western Ghats Ecology Expert Panel, had recommended that 75% of the Western Ghats be declared environmentally sensitive because of the dense forest and the large presence of a large number of endemic species. Dr. Gadgil joins us for a chat. Thank you so much, Dr. Gadgil, for speaking to NDTV. In 2011, sir, the panel that you led proposed to categorize the ecologically sensitive areas and zones across Western Ghats in different classifications. You had in your report clear restrictions and regulations on what kind of construction activities could be allowed there, but of course the recommendations were not accepted, and the government felt that they would be limiting for developmental activities. We are of course now witnessing a trail of devastation today. Do you think that this disaster could have been stopped or at least prevented if those suggestions that you gave 11 years ago, 14 years ago could have been put in place?
I mean, you cannot say stop for sure, but certainly their frequency, their intensity would have been reduced. That I can say with certainty.
Also, sir, your report specifically warned against anti-environmental activities, specifically in Mepadi, where a major landslide wiped out an entire village. The affected areas, if you look at it, in Wayanad, were all classified as highly sensitive. Of course, the government then appointed another panel that was led by Dr. Kasturi Rangan, and that panel came up with another report. The Gadgil panel, your panel, had recommended the entire Western Ghats to be notified as CSAs. Then there was some sort of dilution. What was your experience working in this panel? And of course, learnings.
See, Western Ghats, you see, in a sense, all of them are hill area. And there is a basic mandate which we had from the ministry, which said that hill areas of the country should all be considered ecologically sensitive. But we, the panel, thought that of course, you can consider all of Western Ghats as ecologically sensitive, but you cannot moderate all activities everywhere. You cannot, for instance, say ban absolutely all mining on Western Ghats.
Right.
There would be localities where mining can be justified, and those would be what we call ecologically lowly sensitive. So 3 categories: highly sensitive, medium and low.
Right.
And in low sensitive areas, certainly, because after all we do want a number of such activities to continue, so they will not be possible and not reasonable to ban everywhere. And in the most highly sensitive areas, however, it would be very desirable to ban.
Absolutely.
Some of these activities, such as rock quarrying, and mining. These are certainly very damaging to the environment, but not just environment, damaging for the local communities also.
Right.
And another aspect of our panel's recommendations was that you must take local communities on board.
I think that is the most important point, Dr. Gadgil, the wisdom of the local communities, because Wayanad is also seen as home to several tribal groups, and that is clearly what the Gadgil committee report also talks about, to ensure that commercial activity are completely limited and local wisdom is something that is used to ensure the ecology of the place is preserved. Also joining us now is Anil Anthony, national spokesperson of the BJP. We also have Henry Austin, spokesperson of the Congress Party, and Anand Kochikudi, who's a journalist and columnist from Kerala. Thank you so much for joining us on this show. Starting with you, Anil, I know that the BJP does not have too much accountability when it comes to what is happening in Wayanad, because clearly the Congress Party is blamed for not really looking into reports, several reports, including the Gadgil committee report, and of course the left government, subsequent left governments have also sort of empowered and promoted commercial activities in Wayanad. But clearly, the notification of ESZ has not really come for Wayanad, even from the Central Environment Ministry. Is that something that the centre should be looking at, considering that your party has been at the helm of India for almost 10 years now? In fact, this is the 11th year.
Thank you, Vasudha. So first of all, the Bharatiya Janata Party wants to make it very clear that this is not a time for finger pointing and politics. This is the worst disaster, the worst landslide the state of Kerala has seen in history. And this is a time for everybody to come together and ensure that people of Kerala gets maximum support. There are still a lot of people who are trapped under mud. Rescue operations are going on. And we are ensuring that there is a relief and rescue and with time rehabilitation also. So that is our primary concern. And immediately after that incident happened, the Honorable Prime Minister as well as our central government, we are taking stock of the situation. The Indian Army, the Air Force as well as NDRF are deployed on the ground and rescue operations are going on. So this is our priority at this moment. There is no other priority. At the same time, because of the politicization that is happening, especially by certain opposition parties, the CPM, which is ruling the state, because of that, our Honorable Home Minister himself had to give some clarifications, because this is not a time for politicization at all.
Right.
At the same time, we also need to understand that this is something which is a recurring issue in Kerala. For example, in 2018, the state of Kerala had a floods, which was known as the worst flood in 100 years. Next year, again, it repeated. And this time again, let's say a few days back, as early as 18th of June, the Honorable Prime Minister and our government had set up the early warning system. The project was started in 2016.
Right.
And as early as 18th of July, there was our early warning system that said that the western coast of Kerala would be having very heavy rains, more than usual amount of rain. And we had notified the Kerala government. And 23rd and 25th, again, we had notified the Kerala government. Since not much action was seen, the Home Minister himself took the initiative and sent 9 battalion of NDRF to the locations. So the central government definitely had been acting, even if the state government was not acting. We also need to look at the past history, where as early as 2011, when it was a UPA government at the center as well as the state government, which was again led by the Congress in the state, where in 2011, the Gadgil report, which is the Western Ecology Expert Committee, they had given a very clear report as early as 2011.
Yeah.
But 5 years of the Congress government and 3 more years of the UPA government, that report was never implemented. Later, the left government also never implemented the report, which is because of certain politics.
Right.
So, at the end of the day, like I said, this is not a time for finger pointing, but at the same time,
let me take an response from Henry. Henry, today KC Venugopal, who's also the General Secretary of your party and also the MP from Kalapuya, said that everybody has to be together because opposition is also going with great heart to be together, and Anil is also saying the same thing. But he also blamed the union government. But let me just hold on to that thought. The Speaker of Kerala Assembly is Ian Samsheed is also on the line with us. Thank you so much for speaking to NDTV, sir. Tell us, have you reached Wayanad? How will you explain and how would you describe the intervention and proactive measures that the state government is taking, and also the assistance by the centre in this regard?
Yeah. The Wayanad incident, unspeakable tragedy occurred in Wayanad, Mepadi. The government is coordinating, Chief Minister is coordinating the rescue operations. Along with ministers are already camped there. Chief Minister is visiting tomorrow. And also all party meeting has called tomorrow. Most probably, we all are optimists. We hope we will overcome this tough situation. So you know that more than that toll is nearly 200. The people has lost their life. Along with the help of center, the state government is sorting out the issues. So rescue operations is going on.
Right.
So
Okay, Mr. Shamsheed, today, I know that this is the time when everyone is involved in rescue operations, but Home Minister Amit Shah has said that your government was warned not once but several times, and the first warning came on July 23rd about the upcoming rains and that it could also trigger landslides. Did you actually receive any alert from the centre? And the Home Minister also talked about how ill-equipped the state government was despite the alerts.
This is not the time to blame. Very unfortunate statement comes from the Home Minister. So I don't know in such statements. This is the time to stand unitedly. Then only we can sort it out the issue. Very, very unfortunate statement comes from the Home Minister. For the Home Minister's statement, our Chief Minister has given the reply that you may know. regarding the alert, everything. The whole Chief Minister made statement. So this is the time to stand unitedly to face this tough situation. So I don't know. Amit Shah had made such statements. They are making this issue also political. This is not a political issue. This is not the time to blame each other. So we support. We are asking to the viewers who is watching.
Right, Mr. Shamshed, my last question to you, sir. Do we have an idea about the numbers of people who could still be trapped, or is the rescue operation still on? What is your assessment of the ground situation in Wayanad?
Look, nearly 200 people have lost their life. Rescue operations are going on. Many of the people are in the rescue camps. The entire state, the entire Malayali diaspora is standing along with the Wayanad people. Rescue operators, they are giving food, they are giving money, and also the medical team are doing operations. So the existing people, we have to support the people who are badly injured. That type of works are going on. The people who is watching NDTV, I appeal to the nation, I appeal to the people who is watching NDTV to stand with Kerala, stand with Wayanad. We need fund allocation. So NDTV also speak to sender, give support, financial support to state government. Then we need fund, because only to the financial support the state can overcome this tough situation.
Right.
So we are appealing to the people who is watching NDTV to stand with Kerala, stand with Wayanad. This is not man-made. This is natural calamity. So I don't know why the unfortunate statement comes from the Home Minister. So the Home Minister should comment in a mature manner. I think that his statement is very immature.
Okay.
And once again I'm repeating, this is the time not to blame each other. So the sender wants to support state government. What all the measures in their hand? They give support to state to overcome. The rest thing we can discuss later. What all the things we can discuss later. But in this time, at this juncture, is not the time to blame each other. That was my comment.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Shamshed, for joining us on NDTV. Back to Henry. Henry, you were telling us how, I was asking you how the UPA government has also been blamed for rejecting recommendations. UDF has also been in power, in Kerala several times. So clearly there is some accountability that Congress has in this tragedy.
Actually, I would just go along with the sentiments that right now is not the time to discuss what policy measures have been taken. I know there have been incidents where lack of action has actually contributed to worsening of the situation. We have to admit to that. But even in Parliament, the Congress, for example, Jairam Ramesh has raised this issue at 0 hour, asking to implement the Gadgil committee report instead of the Kasturi Rangan, which is a more watered down version of this report. But it does not happen from the center also, because in equal measure, I think everybody is to be blamed for that. But on the other side, the pressure of human development and the pressure of the human enterprises which are already there, that is also playing on in the ground level. So the local pressure from the church, the local pressure from the farming community, the local pressure from the populace there, and the cost of human development, that is the counter side to the story.
Right.
So Gadgil committee report, while it was a pure report in terms of the environmental impact, it had serious repercussions as far as the human cost is involved. So that had to be taken into account when we actually went into the implementation of this. That is why perhaps the Kasturi Rangan report was implemented and not the Gadgil committee report. But in hindsight, we have to admit that perhaps we ought to have been more cautious about this. Because every political party, and I think nobody can escape from the blame. Everybody is involved. Everybody has some share in this tragedy. So I think that is a viewpoint on that particular aspect. But coming back to the issue of today, this politicization of this issue is regrettable. I would laud the central government for acting properly and deploying the army as well as the NDRF to the situation. They are doing laudable work, admirable work in fact. They were on the ground first and they have initiated a lot of, and they have rescued more than 1,000 people, which is an amazing feat. And the Kerala police and the fire force and the local populace as well as volunteers are also, they are braving the inclement weather to, fight over this tragedy. So that is what is going on now. Right. And politics is in the back door now.
Okay, let me ask this question to the political expert there. Anand, you've covered, the politics of Kerala for a long time, better than so many others I know. Tell us, from Vaman Jayanti to COVID management to now flood management. We have seen the centre and Kerala government being at odds with each other. How do you see the political play out over something like this? Because Kerala has repeatedly suffered from natural disasters, but of course now some people are calling it man-made, some people are calling it natural disaster. You heard what the speaker had to say, and of course you also heard what the Home Minister had to say today. This is not new, but clearly coming at a time like this, how do you assess this?
I think the politics aside, what is happening is something that Kerala can't take so many disasters in so few years. So in the last 7 years, I think there have been so many landslides and there have been so many natural disasters that Kerala is actually moving from one to the other. So it's actually tragic that sitting in Kerala we have to bear with all this, and places like Wayanad, districts like Wayanad and Idukki, the high ranges are seeing these kinds of issues happening over and over again. While politicians say that this is a natural tragedy, I mean, regardless of which side, whether it's the BJP, Congress, or the CPM, these are all to an extent man-made, in the sense. I was just listening to Professor Madhav Gadgil. I clearly remember the impact of his study. The church, the CPM, the Congress, the BJP, everybody in Kerala ganged up against Madhav Gadgil and the local Congress MP P.T. Thomas. He was singled out. He was every Congress leader ganged up against him, saying that he was betraying the party, because he stood with, he backed the Gadgil Commission report. And I don't think most people have read the Gadgil Committee recommendations. So he had the ESA 1, ESA 2, ESA 3. So it was not, he was not asking for people to move out of or constructions to be stopped entirely in all the regions. He just had, he put people at the center of it, saying that the Gram Sabhas and the local panchayat level committee should have the final say. And this was all obfuscated by all these parties and the church, and they continuously, made a villain out of Madhav Gadgil. So when every disaster strikes Kerala today, Madhav Gadgil, Professor Gadgil can come in on TV and say, "See, I told you so." This is happening, and it's so sad that it's repeating again and again after so many years.
Okay.
So
Right. Anil, would you like to respond to this? Because, there is, of course, the left politics that is playing out. I know this is the time to also focus on the rescue work, which is what the central agencies are doing. But would you say that, the behavior of the center when it comes to politics of the state is something that would be like a statesman? Because clearly there is some blame game that is happening. And do you think that the center could actually stay away from that right now, for now at least?
I would say that it's not the time to pin the blame on anybody. I think
let me get Anil on this, because he's the BJP spokesperson. Anil, would you say that this is also probably a time for the center to help the state with as much possible? And also because, we've just had the budget, and, there was a lot of talk about flood management, and there was a lot of talk about how Bihar got possibly a large attention when it comes to flood management. But Kerala is also a state that has been, witnessing floods for many years now. Anil Anthony, unmute yourself, please. Okay, we are not able to hear you. Let me take that question to Anand. You were saying something. Please continue. Please go on.
Okay. Yes, you're absolutely right. Like, this is not a time for politicization at all. And but as I remember, like, one of my esteemed panelists actually saying that everybody had to blame, and that is not true. Because you look at this particular scenario also, within 7 to 10 days before the tragedy happened, the central government did warn the state. And immediately after the tragedy, our NDRF, our armed forces are all on the ground. Plus, our Prime Minister and our central government has announced compensation, 2 lakhs for victims' families and 50,000 for injured. So whatever we can do, we have done. And that is all we can do. But at the same time, when somebody says that Mr. Jairam Ramesh has already spoken on the Parliament on the implementation of the Gadgil report, etc., it is again the routine Congress waterboarding, because you look at where it comes from. The entire Gadgil report, and the panel was sanctioned by the UPA government.
Okay, let me take that question again to Henry. Henry, it's just now the Gadgil report. There's an ISC expert report in 2018 that also found that the likelihood of landslides in Kerala is 3 times higher, specifically because of the infrastructure creation, excessive, either LDF or UDF. And Rahul Gandhi has remained the Wayanad MP for the last 5 years. Do you think that there is some more ownership of the place that the UDF could be taking, considering that this time also you've had, maximum MPs from there, just one for the BJP and one for the LDF?
See, I think you have to put this into perspective, because if you look at the pattern which has unfolded in the last 20 years, right from 2004 onwards, if you look at the Kerala's topography, we have the highlands, we have the midlands and the coastal area. And all 3 areas have been alternately be affected by natural disasters. So it is just not the highlands alone which have been affected. If you look at 2004, we had the tsunami which hit all the coastal areas. Then 2018, we had the massive floods which affected the midland areas. And 2019, we had floods again, but which affected the highland areas with landslides, especially in Wayanad area. And now in 2024, again, we have got a huge landslide occurring. Now, there is another place in Calicut, which is the lower stream, downstream area of Wayanad, which it's called Velappalad. That area has also been afflicted by landslide, but that has not come into the news because of the massive destruction which is happening in Wayanad.
Okay.
So natural disasters have been rocking Kerala for the last 20 years, one after the other. So you cannot just play the report and say
just last
that
10
report
seconds,
alone
where
is
lies the
sacrosanct.
responsibility, sir?
See, I am telling you, as far as laws,
Anand.
Vasudha, can you repeat the question?
Where lies the responsibility? Because, either everyone is saying that all of us are responsible, or people are saying that nobody is responsible for this. So where lies the responsibility when it comes to accountability?
I don't think I can, I wouldn't blame the state government entirely, because these warnings from IMD keep coming every now and then. The Home Minister, I think, was referring to the IMD warning, and he says the NDRF troops were sent, but then the Chief Minister today claims that it was a state that asked for it. So I don't know.
Clearly, the blame game continues even as death toll also increases with every victim's body being recovered from the mud. Thank you all of you for joining me on this show. There are relief camps working, but clearly it will take a long time for families that have incurred losses to be up on their feet again. We are on ground there. My colleague Pratibha Raman is covering this tragedy from Wayanad. Keep watching NDTV for more news and updates.
Co-powered by Sharda University, the world.
लोन मिलेगा या नहीं, ये आपके क्रेडिट स्कोर पे डिपेंड करता है। तो आज ही अपना क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक करें फ्री में पैसाबाजार.com पर। लोन की जरूरत कभी भी किसी को भी पड़ सकती है। ठीक से ओपन नहीं, पैसाबाजार.com।
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. "10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society, and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. Banega Swasth India. One world hygiene.
The biggest democratic exercise in the world. Team NDTV covers it from ground zero.
BJP really had to fight a tough election this time.
Unprecedented exercise.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने देश के विकास
Unmatched coverage.
There is no dispute. जनता को decide करना है.
From polling to counting, NDTV brought you the most trustworthy news and updates. Elections mean NDTV. Get ready for the ride of your life. NDTV brings you the NDTV Auto Show with me, Mishra. From the fastest supercars to the sleekest new energy vehicles to your trusted daily ride, we cover it all. Every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. and Sunday at 8:30 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7. Your next great escape starts here.
After great victory by Indian team, and today we are reporting from Mohali International Airport where we are showing these visuals. Arshdeep हमारे साथ हैं.
बहुत ही परफॉर्मेंस आई सारा दी ते बढ़िया रिजल्ट्स मिले.
We are in the city of Kanpur today because they have their champion back home, Kuldeep Yadav.
The aspiration for each and everyone to go there and win the World Cup, and we did it.
NDTV proudly upholds its legacy of trust and credibility. According to the prestigious Reuters Institute's Digital News Report 2024, NDTV is the top-most news platform in the country. Number one in both online and offline reach in India. Beating all its competition, NDTV stands for trust. Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Great to have you with us. You're watching the news at 8 with me, Tanima Biswas. On the show today, we will get you the latest ground reports from Kerala in the aftermath of the massive landslides in Wayanad, as well as the politics that has stemmed out of it over the centre issuing advanced warning to Kerala government. We'll get you all those details, but first up, the headlines. Kerala's killer landslides, death toll crosses 150. Kerala Chief Minister says that nearly 200 people are still missing. Rescue teams battle odds, intensify efforts. Heavy rains hamper rescue operations. Politics spirals over Wayanad landslides. Home Minister Shah claims in Parliament that the Kerala government had been warned a week in advance. Kerala Chief Minister contests HM Shah's charge, says red alert for Wayanad was sounded after the landslides. Caste census showdown escalates. Congress's privilege motion against Prime Minister. Congress objects to PM endorsing Anurag Thakur's remarks on Rahul Gandhi. BJP hits back, says Congress is deflecting questions on caste. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari pushes for removal of GST on medical insurance. Gadkari writes to the Finance Minister, urges her to remove 18% GST on medical insurance, and adds that we can't tax uncertainties of life. Finance Ministry sources say they are mulling over the proposal. In the aftermath of the coaching centre deaths horror, students push for action. Students protest, say they need written assurance on safety from the authorities. High Court asks Delhi government why there's not been any action yet on civic body officials. Atishi meets the protesting students, says she won't spare even the top officials. Meanwhile, good news for India in Paris. Lavlina Borgohain storms into the quarter-finals at the Olympics. The box is just one win away from her second Olympic medal. Right, our top focus is on the Wayanad landslides. Remember, the death toll has crossed over 150 at the moment. Over 200 people are still missing. In fact, several people are still feared trapped under the debris of the landslides. But while we are looking at the disaster and the effects that it's having on the ground there as far as the rescue operations are concerned, as far as the people still being trapped is concerned, there's also politics which has stemmed out over the Wayanad landslides. In fact, Union Home Minister Amit Shah said in Parliament today that the centre had warned Kerala government at least a week in advance about potential landslides in the region. In fact, he had said that there were multiple warnings which had been issued about landslides in Wayanad. However, Kerala Chief Minister has contested the charge, saying that the centre's warning was inadequate. It was actually an orange alert which was issued initially, and that the red alert for Wayanad was issued after the landslides.
23 जुलाई को केरल सरकार को अर्ली वार्निंग भारत सरकार की ओर से दी गई थी। 23 जुलाई को 7 दिन पहले, फिर 24 को गई, फिर 25 को गई, 26 तारीख को मान्यवर ये कहा गया कि 20 सेंटीमीटर से ज्यादा वर्षा होगी, भारी वर्षा होगी, लैंडस्लाइड होने की संभावना है, मड भी रस होकर आ सकता है और लोग इसके अंदर दबकर मर भी सकते हैं।
കേന്ദ്ര ആഭ്യന്തരമന്ത്രി ഇങ്ങനെയൊരു മുന്നറിയിപ്പ് നൽകിയിരുന്നു. എന്നിട്ട് കേരളം എന്താണ് ചെയ്തത് എന്നൊരു ചോദ്യമാണ് ചോദിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളത്. ഇവിടെ വസ്തുതകളെല്ലാം എല്ലാവർക്കും അറിയാവുന്നതാണല്ലോ. അവിടെ 115നും 204 മില്ലിമീറ്ററിനും ഇടയിൽ മഴ പെയ്യും എന്നായിരുന്നു കേന്ദ്ര കാലാവസ്ഥാ കേന്ദ്രത്തിന്റെ മുന്നറിയിപ്പ്. ഇന്നലെ ഞാൻ അതിലൊരു ഭാഗം പറഞ്ഞതാണ്. എന്നാൽ എത്ര മഴയാണ് പെയ്തത്? ആദ്യത്തെ 24 മണിക്കൂറിനുള്ളിൽ 200 മില്ലിമീറ്റർ, അടുത്ത 24 മണിക്കൂറിനുള്ളിൽ 372 മില്ലിമീറ്റർ മഴ. ഇതാണ് ഈ പ്രദേശത്ത് പെയ്തത്. അപ്പോൾ 48 മണിക്കൂറിനുള്ളിൽ 572 മില്ലിമീറ്റർ മഴയാണ് പെയ്തത്. അപ്പോൾ മുന്നറിയിപ്പ് നൽകിയതിലും എത്രയോ അധികമായിരുന്നു അത്.
अगर आप हमें बता पाए, जैसे आज यूनियन होम मिनिस्टर अमित शाह जी ने कहा कि उन्होंने सेंटर ने केरला गवर्नमेंट को, they had warned Kerala government a week in advance about these landslides. So what had been Kerala government's response? So first, can you confirm that did you get this warning from the center a week back?
ये सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का वार्निंग हम लोग को मिला है ओनली फॉर ए ऑरेंज अलर्ट. ऑरेंज अलर्ट मीन्स वायनाड डिस्ट्रिक्ट में ऑरेंज अलर्ट पे 200 अबो मिली रेन मिलेगा. ओके
जी.
जो मिला है 500 का ऊपर मिला, यानी लाइक रेड अलर्ट अबो. ये यूनियन मिनिस्टर ने सही नहीं बता रहे हैं कि ये असलियत क्या है. ये ही है कि ऑरेंज अलर्ट में हम लोग को वार्निंग जो मिला है ऑरेंज अलर्ट ओनली.
Okay, so you are saying that it was an orange alert issued by the center, but जिस तरह बारिश हुई that was far more grave situation. Red alert के तरह जिस लेवल पे बारिश होती है उतनी बारिश हुई. So are you saying that the center's warning was inadequate?
ये सही वार्निंग नहीं दिया हुए हैं. केरला में हर दिन एक वार्निंग मिल रहे है जो ऑरेंज है सब दिन. अभी आज तो 11 डिस्ट्रिक्ट में रेड अलर्ट है आज. उस दिन जो अपना होम मिनिस्टर ने बताया वो दिन वो लोग ने जो वार्निंग दिया है ओनली फॉर ऑरेंज. जब ऑरेंज का वार्निंग जब मिला है सब कुछ हम लोग इधर इवाक्यूएट कर दिया. जो लैंडस्लाइड का जिधर जो रहता है आदमी लोग वो लोग को इवैक्यूएट किया है. सब कुछ जो हम लोग जो करना है सब कुछ उसी टाइम हम लोग किया है. इस वजह से इतना कम डैमेज मिला है.
The state of Kerala, which is now currently actually reeling under a massive devastation. Dr. Tharoor, it's a sad day, but I still welcome you to NDTV. Your
it is
first
very sad,
thoughts?
Nikunja.
We're hearing of over 200 deaths and 500 houses destroyed. Many, perhaps a couple of hundred more people are still feared trapped under the debris. So it really is a very, very sad day.
Dr. Tharoor, I'll come to the politics and the management of it all slightly later. But what are your initial thoughts on this tragedy? Was there any way that it's always very tricky dealing with nature, but could there have been a way to minimize at least the casualties in this tragedy?
Well, as you know, the Home Minister claimed today that warnings had been given to the state government. The state government claims that they had only been given the lowest level of warning and not the red alert. And indeed, it's very difficult to predict the worst of all of these because the fundamental reality we live with, Nikunj, is that Kerala is ecologically very fragile. We've had in the last few years major challenges from climate change. There was a severe drought in 2015, the devastating Oki cyclone of 2017, significant flooding in 2018 and 19 that were certainly stories on your news, lots and lots of landslides in Wayanad, which took much smaller numbers of lives, but lives have been lost in 2018 during the floods. In 2019, a place called Puthumala in Wayanad, which claimed 17 lives, more landslides in 21 and 22. So it's not as if we have never seen any of this before. The challenge is how do we predict them so we can evacuate people before the worst happens. And that's something that surely we ought to be able to develop the technological and other skill to be able to do more effectively. I don't think the blame game is where we should be going when lives are at stake right now and we're trying to rescue people. What we need to do is create systems that work better. Now, there's been a lot of talk of the Gadgil Commission report, which had said in 2013 that this whole Western Ghats area should have certain zones reserved for ecologically sensitive areas, and that there was resistance to it from politicians and government and so on because their voters didn't want to move. But having said that, it's also true, Nikunj, that in the Gadgil Commission report, the 3 villages that have been destroyed in the last 48 hours did not get listed under ecologically sensitive areas.
Now, with over 150 bodies recovered, the rescue teams are battling odds in Kerala, including heavy rains to carry out the search operations. From makeshift bridge to dog squad, Pratibha Raman tracks the teams and the strategies adopted in the relief efforts.
The incessant rain continues to be a challenge, but the NDRF, SDRF defence teams are continuing undeterred. The Air Force too is distributing relief material to those stranded. A dog squad is also helping looking for buried. As the death toll continues to climb, politics over the catastrophe has escalated.
That is politics. I am being sent to here not play politics, to inquire about the need of the people and help them. And I am not going to do any political activities here. From the side of PM, I am instructed that to help the people and whatever is needed, report there.
People are being shifted to safer ground on ropeways. A makeshift bridge is being assembled for easier access.
One
is definitely the weather conditions.
Yes. Weather is not in our favor. I have told you.
Right.
So I pray to God that no raining make here.
Mundkai, the epicenter of the landslides, bore remnants of the disaster that wiped away several homes, villages and lives. Several plantation workers have been rescued, but many bodies were also found. For the Kerala government, is this a lesson learnt?
So, the depth of the issue is very wide and larger. So, we have to face all these one by one, and we have to protect the life and help the injured. Then we have to give proper medical facilities, food, etc., etc.
Red alert continues to get issued in this region. With heavy rains lashing this part of town, Most of the relief teams are worried that this could trigger another landslide. As water levels continue to rise, there are hundreds who still are lying buried in the depths. Challenges continue to mount. With camera person Govind, Pratibha Raman at Wayanad for NDTV. Heavy rains continue to lash Wayanad as the NDRF, SDRF as well as the defence teams are all working in sync to continue with their relief and rescue efforts. Now this is the place where the bridge had collapsed with the third landslide that took place in this region on that day, and this is a makeshift bridge that has been arranged so that they could reach out to those who have been isolated in the other part of Wayanad there. In fact, that is where you have the epicenter of the landslide, where vast devastation has taken place. But to reach out to those stranded, they were using ropeways all this while. But right now, they've decided to have this makeshift bridge so that the JCBs could actually be moved. Other equipment could also be easily moved to the other part, where there are hundreds who are lying stranded, hundreds of bodies that are yet to be recovered there. So all of them working in sync, and the inclement weather conditions not helping either. Challenges continue to mount because it is going to be a Herculean task in terms of finding the bodies. As well as another challenge is that most of them are wondering that this could trigger another landslide, and if that happens, that is going to be extremely catastrophical situation that they would have to deal with, and that several of the ministers have also been visiting this region trying to lead the rescue activities here. Most of the ministers from other states also who have extended help. Also the Prime Minister who has personally spoken to the Chief Minister here. The Chief Minister himself at the State Disaster Management Office trying to monitor the relief operations here. In fact, it is going to be quite a task in terms of assembling this bridge and making sure that it actually ends up working for the betterment in terms of reaching out to those stranded. Over 150 people are considered dead, are confirmed dead at this point in time. In fact, there are JCBs that are also trying to be moved here so that it could remove all the slush as well as the flood waters there to try and see if there are more bodies that are buried underneath.
Shifting focus now to Parliament, and showdown over caste census continues to spiral. The Congress has objected to the Prime Minister endorsing Anurag Thakur's comments on Rahul Gandhi, where the BJP MP had in fact said in Parliament that those obsessed with caste census don't know their own caste. BJP meanwhile has hit back, asking why is Congress deflecting questions on caste.
देखिए, कांग्रेस पार्टी ने जो हरकत किया है मैं उसका निंदा करता हूँ। कांग्रेस पार्टी सुबह शाम दिन रात जाति 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 करते रहते हैं। जब मीडिया वालों को मिलता है उनका भी जाति पूछते हैं, वो मिलिट्री के लोगों के पास जाके जाति पूछते हैं। यहाँ बारो जोरो यात्रा करता है, वो हर आदमी को जाति पूछते हैं। जाति पूछ पूछ के देश को विभाजन करने का षड्यंत्र कांग्रेस ने किया है। और जब राहुल गांधी का जाति का बात हुआ तो फिर वो इतना हंगामा कर रहे हैं। देश के लोगों का जाति पूछेंगे और राहुल गांधी का जाति को नहीं पूछ सकते हैं, ये कौन सा तरीका है? अब अखिलेश यादव को भी देख लीजिए, वो राहुल गांधी के साथ खड़ा रहते हैं। वो यही लोग हैं जो जाति पूछते रहते हैं हर सुबह शाम, जाति जाति। और इन लोगों का जाति नहीं पूछ सकता। ये देश से बड़ा है, ये पार्लियामेंट से बड़ा है।
जाति न पूछो साधु की। राहुल जी साधु हैं? वो साधु होते तो उनकी जाति नहीं पूछी जाती। पूछ लीजिए ज्ञान, वो ज्ञानवान है। चलिए हम आपसे पूछ लेते हैं, जाति नहीं पूछेंगे आपकी, बताइए आपका ज्ञान। आप जाति जनगणना चाहते हैं और आप कह रहे हैं कि सदन के अंदर जाति पूछी नहीं जा सकती है, तो बाहर जाति कैसे पूछी जा सकती है? आप प्रधानमंत्री की जाति पर टिप्पणी कर सकते हैं, मगर कोई आपकी जाति पूछ नहीं सकता। मुझे आश्चर्य होता है राहुल गांधी जी की सेंस ऑफ एंटाइटलमेंट पे। वो टी शर्ट और जीन्स पहन के आते हैं, मैं किसी कपड़े के ऊपर कमेंट नहीं कर रहा हूं। भद्रता, नम्रता, शीलता, यह भी होती है। जेब के अंदर दोनों हाथ डाल के आते हैं।
Ma'am, Bharatiya Janata Party MP Sambit Patra made some personal attacks on Rahul Gandhi. He said that Rahul Gandhi wears shirt and jeans. He sits like a prince but talks ill about people. What's harm in asking his own caste while he's asking caste of each and every individual of this country and demanding caste census?
What is Sambit Patraji problem? Rahul Gandhi is wearing t-shirt and pants. It's not a 10 lakh suit like Prime Minister Modi, no. That pant, that normal pant and t-shirt, it's buy on his own money. Sambit also has any problem with that. We are not asking him to buy those shirts, right? See, Rahulji replied this kind of malicious attack. This is a below the belt remark that shows their character, BJP's character, Sambit Patraji's character, not Rahul Gandhi's character. He told very clearly, anybody like leader like Rahul Gandhi fight for the rights of the tribals, Dalits, OBCs, women, minorities, poor, they're bound to face this kind of attacks. This is not the new, this is the history of the mankind. So Rahulji is speaking for the marginalized. So these people are running the government for Adani and Ambani and the elite people, rich people. So they don't want Rahul to speak for them. So they also have seen the impact of what Rahul Gandhi has spoken. 400 par now have come to some 230 plus numbers, and it's a minority Modi governments. So that's how they are very upset with Rahul Gandhi ji.
And Union Minister of Road Transport and Highways Nitin Gadkari has requested Finance Minister to withdraw the 18% goods and services tax on life and medical insurance premiums. In his letter to the Finance Minister, Mr. Gadkari said, and I quote, "Levying GST on life insurance premiums amounts to levying tax on the uncertainties of life. The union feels that the person who covers the risk of life's uncertainties to give protection to the family should not be levied tax on the premium to purchase cover against this risk," unquote. Sources indicate that the Finance Ministry is considering the proposal.
Yes, right. So Nitin Gadkari writes a letter to Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. A copy of that letter has been reviewed by a team, which is dated 28th of July. In the letter, he has requested Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to remove GST on life and medical insurance premiums. Now, a couple of arguments have been listed in the letter, and two of them that really stood out was the letter states that Mr. Gadkari wrote that 18% GST, which is currently applied to both types of premiums, penalizes individuals seeking to protect themselves and their families. In fact, the high tax rate, as Mr. Gadkari said, also discourages people from investing in medical insurance, which is a necessity in the current world. Now, the letter has been written, and as it has mentioned in the document, after Nagpur Divisional Life Insurance Corporation Employees Union submitted a memorandum to Mr. Gadkari, and hence he wrote this letter to Finance Minister seeking the removal of this GST on these two products on priority, because he also said that the process is now becoming cumbersome for all individuals in order to seek preferential treatment and other things as necessary. Now, while a reply from Finance Ministry is awaited, the letter also lists that the memorandum that was submitted to Mr. Gadkari also pointed out that the differential treatment to savings by way of life insurance is also being witnessed.
Shifting focus now to the national capital, and protests over coaching centre deaths in Delhi have intensified, with students now demanding written assurance from authorities of ensuring safety at the coaching centres. Remember, 3 students drowned at the basement of a coaching centre in Delhi over the weekend. Delhi Minister Atishi met students at the protest site today, assuring that even the senior-most civic officials, if found guilty, won't be spared.
Angry students up in the arms in the capital, Delhi Minister Atishi was booed by the protesting students as she visited the protest site at Rajinder Nagar, which saw 3 tragic deaths due to flooding at the coaching centre. Atishi promised action and a magisterial probe into the tragedy. 5 days have passed since the tragic deaths of 3 UPSC aspirants. Students' patience is wearing thin. They are demanding answers and accountability. The Additional Commissioner of the MCD, Tariq Thomas, telling students that there are no excuses for what's happened. The students are on a hunger strike. Some students took a sip of water after the MCD Additional Commissioner assured a meeting with the MCD Commissioner. The students, however, did not break their hunger strike. Students were taken away in 2 buses for the meeting while police officials began clearing the protest site. Students alleged they were forcibly being removed.
यहाँ से प्रोटेस्ट जबरदस्ती हमसे हटाया जा रहा है, फोर्सफुली हटाया जा रहा है, जो कि बहुत गलत है। ये हमारे राइट्स का वायलेशन हो रहा है यहाँ पे।
While the Delhi High Court has summoned the MCD Commissioner and asked tough questions for the civic authorities at large, faculty members spoke to NDTV and demanded that students' demand to be fulfilled so that they can concentrate on their studies. While BJP has been protesting against the Aam Aadmi Party government, Delhi Minister Atishi has said the Delhi government will bring a law to regulate coaching centers' infrastructure and fee. Bureau Report, NDTV.
International news now, and Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh and one of his bodyguards were killed in Iran as per the Palestinian group. Now, Ismail Haniyeh was killed in an attack at his home in Tehran. He was one of the most senior Hamas leaders, and Iran's Revolutionary Guards, of course, issued a statement on his death as well. Let me go across to my colleague Vishal for more on this. Vishal, what does this mean in terms of the conflict in that region, and also, has Hamas already figured out the next rung of leadership to take over from Haniyeh?
So yeah, this is a big, escalation in the whole wider conflict of West Asia. As we all know, it's been on the boil for a while now. It's been about 9 months since the war in Israel-Hamas war started, and this killing of the top leader of Hamas is bound to, escalate this whole conflict to the next level. On how or when both the parties will respond to this, that remains to be seen. But as we've been reporting, he was one of the most prominent figures in Hamas's lineup, and the fact that he was not involved in the military operations, he was the political bureau chief of Hamas, and he was killed in an area which is a neutral place, which was an area which was not, in direct consideration, in direct contact of the whole conflict. So the fact that this whole operation was conducted in a neutral area, that will escalate the whole conflict to the next level. And how Iran chooses to respond to this, considering it's a very powerful player in the region, that also remains to be seen. But Western media, they're all saying that Iran does not really have the capability to respond, to directly attack Israel. They have blamed Israel, but they have also attacked Israel in some sort of a controlled sort of a way in the last few months. But will they, respond in a more direct way this time? Will this be the ignition to the next conflict, the bigger conflict? That all remains to be seen, and we'll have to wait in the next few days to answer all of that questions.
Right, Vishal there giving us a comprehensive analysis of the situation there currently in West Asia because of the aftermath of this assassination of a top Hamas leader there. Vishal, thank you so much for joining us with that. Sports news now. An Olympic bronze medalist Lovlina Borgohain stormed into the quarterfinals of the women's 75 kg event at the Paris Olympics after defeating Norwegian boxer Sunniva Hofstad. And Borgohain's made a strong start with her Olympics campaign in Paris, beating Hofstad unanimously in the women's 75 kg round of 16 bout on Wednesday. Right, on that note, we'll be heading into a short break, and coming up on the other side is The Last Word with Maria Shakil.
Co-presented by Motorola Razr 50 Ultra. Comes with Google Gemini.
Just came around to say hello. One, I'm so fly. You took a nosedive. Careful when you play on my level. For you it's so. Hey, hello.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra. Flip the script.
लोन मिलेगा या नहीं, ये आपके क्रेडिट स्कोर पर डिपेंड करता है। आज ही जाइए पैसाबाजार.com पर और अपना क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक कीजिए फ्री में, क्योंकि लोन की जरूरत किसी को भी कभी भी पड़ सकती है। एक चल एक्टिंग कोड भेज बनो। ए आया भाग पैसाबाजार.com।
The biggest democratic exercise in the world.
या फिर Team NDTV covers it from ground zero.
BJP really had to fight a tough election this time.
Unprecedented exercise.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने देश के विकास
Unmatched coverage.
There is no dispute. जनता को decide करना है.
From polling to counting, NDTV brought you the most trustworthy news and updates. Elections mean NDTV. Get ready for the ride of your life. NDTV brings you the NDTV Auto Show with me, Mugdha Mishra. From the fastest supercars to the sleekest new energy vehicles to your trusted daily rides, we cover it all. Every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. and Sunday at 8:30 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7. Your next great escape starts here.
After great victory by Indian team, and today we are reporting from Mohali International Airport where we are showing these visuals. Arshdeep हमारे साथ है. बहुत ही performance सही सारा नहीं थे बढ़िया results मिले.
We are in the city of Kanpur today because they have their champion back home, Kuldeep Yadav.
Desperation for each and everyone to go there and win the World Cup, and we did it.
लोन मिलेगा या नहीं, ये आपके क्रेडिट स्कोर पे डिपेंड करता है। तो आज ही पैसाबाजार.com पर जाइए और अपना क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक कीजिए फ्री में, क्योंकि लोन की जरूरत कभी भी किसी को भी पड़ सकती है। बस एक्टिंग करा लो इनसे। पैसाबाजार.com, क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक, आदत अच्छी है।
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient.
Hello everyone, this is The Last Word and I'm Maria Shakil. The 18th Lok Sabha's Chakravyuh mandate has opposition and the Treasury benches caught in water words over each and every issue. The opposition isn't ready to give any elbow room to the government. The government says that the mandate is strong and they must counter the India group aggressively. Leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi's speech on the budget has the Treasury benches fuming. And such is the fallout that BJP's comment on Rahul Gandhi has given a caste colour, leading to former Punjab Chief Minister Charanjit Singh Channi moving a privilege motion against the Prime Minister himself. Caste census debate certainly has cast a shadow on the Parliament. We have a very interesting and high-profile panel lined up for you. Joining me on the show, Nalin Kohli, spokesperson of the BJP. We have Madhu Yakshi Gaur, spokesperson of the Congress. Neerja Chaudhary, senior journalist. Before I bring in the politicians, Neerja Chaudhary, what really is happening in Parliament?
Well, it's the 18th Lok Sabha, you're absolutely right, is turning out to be much more confrontationist than one had expected. We thought, now that the BJP does not have a majority on its own, it may deploy different tactics to handle its allies, which they managed to do, and to handle a very strident opposition, which the opposition is getting more and more strident by the day. And of course, this thing on the caste census, and with Anurag Thakur talking about Rahul Gandhi, obviously he was talking about Rahul Gandhi when he said some people did not know about their caste. What he was referring to, we don't know. Was he trying to say Rahul Gandhi at the end of the day is not a Hindu, he has a Catholic mother and a father who's half Brahmin and half Parsi. So I don't know what the implicit intention of Anurag Thakur's words were. But it's led to a big, with the Prime Minister then calling it a must-see video. The Prime Minister entered the picture also, a privilege motion, former Chief Minister Channi also jumping in. So all in all, it looks like, it's become a major caste census that the opposition has been batting for, has come center stage once again.
And then Nalin Kohli, does it give the Treasury benches a platform to explain its position on caste census? Because whatever said and done, this was a narrative that the opposition had tried to build during the elections, the Lok Sabha polls, and that led to some damage for you in a number of states.
So, Maria, I'll take a few minutes because I'll divide my response into 3 or 4 separate segments. First, to answer the last part of your question, I'm not sure, and maybe being 22 years formally in the party and 32 years associated, I don't take election results and analysis so lightly, because when you go deeper, the factors turn out to be much, much more different than what the first brush seems to indicate. So I think I'll hold my horses to say whether the caste census was the issue, because in 2004, and Neerja ji would well remember, everyone said India shining cost to Atal ji's government, and we lost in all the villages. The fact is we won in rural India and lost in urban India, which was contrary to what was the general belief. So that's first part. Second is, with regard to the situation here, I think you reap what you sow. I mean, basically, the opposition has gone on an aggression and the government has responded in the same term. Now, it's for the tempers to cool down. That's for parliamentary procedure. But I don't think the opposition can expect that if Mr. Rahul Gandhi shows and says, where is the SC in the photograph of the halwa ceremony or whatever, then he has to first answer where are the SCs or the STs or the Dalits in, say, the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation or in every budget meeting starting from the Congress era. Because we don't see them there either. So you really can't wake up one day as a new convert and say, I'm now the new messiah for a certain stand which I have no belief in.
Yes.
And that brings me to the larger question. Mr. Rahul Gandhi is now holding for the first time a position. He's been, in my estimate, about 20 years in public life that I've seen him.
Yes.
And he's never been a minister, he's been not. He's mostly been seen as, he will lead the Congress because of being born into the first family. But he's holding an important position, a very important position, the leader of opposition. And he needs to therefore decide how would he like to be seen as the leader of opposition. Would he like to see it from a script to script sent out on a daily basis to set up a so-called agenda that is very good for Twitter, social media,
many would say
whatever.
that he's just started.
But
so
will be questioned whether it has the gravitas of any real intent. That is for him to decide.
As well.
And it's not going to change how the government works.
Okay, Madhu Yakshi Gaur is completely in a new get-up today. Madhu, why has the Congress brought in the Prime Minister? Prime Minister had just shared Anurag Thakur's speech and had said it's must hear. So why should it lead to Mr. Channi saying that it's sharing the speech is being described as highly abusive and unconstitutional tirade?
Maria, thank you. I know I'm in a new look, but same old thought. Madhu Yaski knows the problem of SC, ST, BCs, not Anurag Thakur or Nalin Kohli. They don't understand the problems. Anurag Thakur just played one match becoming an BCCI president and his brother and his family ruling it. Just because he's a CM's son, he could able to get that position. What he used, BJP, Maria, from the beginning against the reservations. They talked about Pandit Nehruji's, but it is Pandit Nehru who appointed Kaka Kalelkar committee in 1953. Even when BJP, Janata Party, Morarji Desai Mandal Commission and appointed, it is on the insistence of Mulayam Singh Yadav and those BC leaders in that committee. And Charan Singh ji accepted it. Did ever BJP ask Srimati Indira Gandhi to implement Mandal Commission report? No. So the BJP always against the caste reservations, right from their party like RSS to Bajrang Dal, VHP, keep on talking about we have to abolish the reservations. Why we are bringing Prime Minister here by sharing that reflects what Anurag Thakur has said it. So Prime Minister claims to be BC leader. Shri Nirmala Sitharaman in the House says that he is the BC Prime Minister. What he has done in the last 10 years, Maria? Nothing. He provided reservation to the 10% for the upper caste, but nothing to the BCs. I give a clear example. There used to be a BC fellowship in the universities. They've reduced to 350 postdoctoral fellowships for BC community in entire country. So what Mr. Modi has done is nothing to the BCs, but he claims to be BC Prime Minister, belong to OBC community, and that's how he garnered the votes and to becoming Prime Minister. So they keep on asking at why, Mr. Kohli just now said it, why Mr. Gandhi is asking now. A leader should change as per the current contemporary political situation. The people, because I belong to that community, Maria, now the people belong to SC, ST, BC communities, asking and fighting across the country for caste census. They wanted to know their due share in the national assets. And Mr. Gandhi reflecting the mood of the people. So Telangana has been carved out because when the people of Telangana fighting for separate state. So you can't keep on saying, oh, your previous party leaders were against it or for it. So Mr. Gandhi is reflecting the mood of the current people.
Okay, so according to Madhu Yakshi God, whatever is playing out in Parliament, particularly the statement of Rahul Gandhi, is reflecting the mood of the nation. On the contrary, you heard also my friend Nalin Kohli on the show as well. But first up, let's also do a quick recap of what happened today and listen to all the sound bites, then I'm going to come back to the panel.
जिसकी जात का पता नहीं वो गन्ना की बात करता है.
BJP leader Anurag Thakur opening up Pandora's box in Lok Sabha. In his budget discussion intervention, Anurag Thakur went slightly off script, bringing in the caste census. Congress took offense to Thakur alluding to Rahul Gandhi's caste.
अनुराग ठाकुर जी ने मुझे इंसल्ट किया है, मगर मैं अनुराग ठाकुर जी से कोई माफी नहीं चाहता हूं. मुझे कोई माफी की जरूरत नहीं है. मैं लड़ाई लड़ रहा हूं. जितनी आपको गाली देनी है मैं आपसे कभी माफी नहीं मांगूंगा. मुझे आपकी माफी नहीं चाहिए.
On Thursday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi shared Anurag Thakur's budget intervention on social media. Rahul Gandhi took the comment personally and Congress saw the red, terming it as Prime Minister's endorsement of Thakur's caste comment.
हिंदुस्तान में और जब आप बोलते हैं कि वो भी पार्लियामेंट में ऐसी चीज़ें गंदी बात और शायद उसको वो तो इमेच्योर है, लेकिन प्राइम मिनिस्टर को ट्वीट करने की क्या जरूरत थी?
जाति पूछ पूछ के देश को विभाजन करने का षड्यंत्र कांग्रेस ने किया है और जब राहुल गांधी का जाति का बात हुआ तो फिर वो इतना हंगामा कर रहे हैं. देश के लोगों का जाति पूछेंगे और राहुल गांधी का जाति को नहीं पूछ सकते हैं.
Taking the fight a step further, Congress MP from Punjab Charanjit Channi has written to the Speaker demanding a privilege motion against the Prime Minister.
जो बातें ऑब्जेक्शनेबल होती हैं, जिनको एक्सपंज कर दिया जाता है, उनको दोबारा से उभारा नहीं जा सकता, बाहर उसका प्रचार नहीं किया जा सकता, लेकिन प्रधानमंत्री जी ने उसको ट्वीट करके उभारा है.
Anurag Thakur's attempt to counter Rahul Gandhi's Chakravyuh jibe at the Prime Minister seems to have backfired. Not only did his caste census comment cast a shadow over the budget session of Parliament, it also gave the opposition another opportunity to bring back the spotlight on caste census, a key issue in its manifesto, this time inside Parliament. With Aishwarya Jain, Bureau Report for NDTV.
So let me ask Nalin Kohli now. Are you getting caught in some kind of Chakravyuh here?
That's a nice way of putting that question, Maria. I must first start on something personal for a moment. Is that on this panel, I think we can, all of us in some way or the other, speak about mutual respect and friendships with each other, because I think everyone knows each other for decades on this, whether it's Neerja ji or Madhu or you also, Maria. And yes. Madhu I have seen from 2002, the man who championed Telangana in the Congress party. I can't say that he's got a fair deal, but that is for him and his party. But I respect him for what work he has done.
And I'm sure Madhu also shares the same view, Nalin, that you have not got a fair deal within the BJP.
No, we share.
And Neerja agrees with both.
For you, Nalin.
So I think
not to your party.
So I think, what I'm talking is, and it's an important point I wish to bring, is that even though we may be on the opposite ends of the political scale or opposed to each other, There's mutual respect, and that's what makes it so important. And Parliament is that forum which gives an opportunity. Madhu's there, I'm not there. But it's an opportunity where we can transcend our political differences, gaps, and work in the interest of the country, which is what it's meant to be. And the point I was saying, not to run down Rahul Gandhi ji, the point I was actually saying that he's holding an extremely critical post. Now the election is over. Now he can craft himself if he wishes, it's his choice, his prerogative, down the route of continuing on an election campaign into Parliament, or he can craft himself into the position of what a leader of opposition is. And look, the leader of opposition of the largest democracy is no small post. It's huge. But that's for Mr. Gandhi, his advisors and others to decide, not me to advise. Let's come back to what you were saying about the Chakravyuh. This is an analogy that Mr. Rahul Gandhi has picked up. So somebody has gone ahead and told him this. So I don't know whether he sees himself as an Abhimanyu or a Shri Krishna or a Karna or a Arjun, whoever.
But that's what doesn't feel is a god like
a new approach to mythology. But the fact of the matter is that in the Chakravyuh, he needs to reflect. The Chakravyuh is a dangerous space. If you push yourself into it, you maybe find it easy to go in, which I sometimes wonder he's doing, and may find it difficult to extricate. So when he points out and says, where's the OBC in the photograph to Nirmala ji, so Nirmala ji obviously is going to say, show me where is the OBC or the SC or whatever earlier in all the photographs of the previous budgets under the Congress. So I think, before you shoot a bullet or you put out a finger to point someone, you need to recognize 3 fingers can point back to you.
All that is all right. But look at the direction in which this entire discussion is going. By talking about it, has Anurag Thakur has started playing on the pitch of the Congress party, because the Congress party and the opposition want the issue of caste census to be centric. That has been the central narrative of the opposition in these elections. So my question then to Nirja is, who is playing on whose pitch?
Maria, certainly when Anurag Thakur talks about some people do not know their caste, it's not saying, Rahul Gandhi, what is your caste? It is completely avoidable. In the kind of discourse we need to have in Parliament, it is avoidable. Now, for Akhilesh Yadav to say, you can't ask somebody's caste, why not? If you're having a caste census, you're going to ask millions of people their caste. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the manner in it, the personalized attack. I found it, it's a strong word to use, not very tasteful thing in the Parliament of India. But I want to make one simple point, that a leader or a political party may have had a stand on caste, on reservations in the past, but may evolve into a different stand. Rajiv Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi's father, in 1990, when the Mandal Commission was brought in, the report of Mandal Commission was implemented by Vishwanath Pratap Singh, Rajiv Gandhi gave a speech for 2.5 hours hammering the government. And he said that decision would lead to caste wars. Reservation was not the way to go. Today, Rahul's views are very different when he talks about a caste census, giving due representation to the OBCs, SC, STs, minorities. So also with the BJP. In Vajpayee's time and even earlier, the BJP was known as the Brahmin Baniya party. Today, its base is widened. It's worried today about why it's lost the support of the OBCs, the extremely backwards, and the Dalits in the just held elections. So it will course correct, it will put certain things into place. But all this, parties will position themselves, they will woo vote bases. But all this can be done in a very different way on the floor of the House.
Yes, and perhaps the analogy is what we are seeing play out from Akhilesh Yadav could be a best example here in which the direction we would like to see the debates play out. Madhu, whatever said and done, the jibes of Akhilesh, be it the role of the speaker, where he says that the speaker's chair has become partisan, or on those lines have been far more mature than several leaders that we have seen in this session, which is far more personal, confrontational and more direct.
Yeah, you know that I was Member of Parliament for 10 years.
Yes.
I've seen during first term, UPA term, how Somnath Chatterjee used to be an impartial speaker. The current speaker, with the due respect to, I know him quite well, we both in the Constitutional Club, but he has become more partisan, representing his party. Once he sits in the chair, he should be neutral and is the leader of the House. Here, Maria, as I do agree with Nalin, is a good friend, but Anurag, being a friend, used to be, he crossed all the limits and his comments is below the belt, as Neeraj has said it. Why Akhilesh has been saying, you must have seen his interview today, Maria, when he became an MP and visited a temple, and after visited the temple,
Yes.
and they watched the whole temple. So that is, जाति जो होती है कभी जाति ही नहीं. देश में जाति है.
कभी
Maria.
जाति नहीं है. That's a good
जाति नहीं
line.
तो कभी जाति नहीं, वो तो है ही है. तो ये this is the Mandal Commission is talking about. When Mandal Commission report, Niraj has mentioned about Rajiv Ji's speech, but who were fighting ABVP, Arun Shourie writing an articles and for leading, and Arun Jaitley, it is a BJP withdrew the support, not allowing BBC to implement it.
Yes.
It's a
Go ahead,
BJP is completely against the reservations policy, including Mandal Commission report. It is Indiraji, when has accepted the report, couldn't implement because then the forward communities, the BJP and Jansangh, by then Jansangh became BJP. And let me tell you one thing, their founder, Goldwalker, did not even accept the Constitution of India, written by the Ambedkar. BJP, then the Jansangh never accepted Goldwalker's statement, Maria. The Constitution of India doesn't reflect Indian thought of Manwadi. Neither it reflects Indian culture and history. That's why they didn't accept the Constitution of India. And they go gaga about Goldwalker. That is the stand of the BJP right from the independence. They are always opposed it. It is BJP which stopped implementation of Mandal Commission, and BJP never even asked neither Indiraji to implement Mandal Commission report. So here my take here, Anurag statement is below the belt, and the Prime Minister, when it comes to the votes and elections, he claims to be OBC leader. Once they come to power,
No, but the
they work
question is
against
that,
SC, ST,
that
BC
if the
minority.
remarks have been expunged, how far should you be taking it?
Well, we'll take it to the people. They have been asking all those OBC committees, OBC organizations across the country.
Okay, let me ask another
asking
question,
for a
Madhu.
caste census,
By asking the
census.
caste, which the caste census invariably, if and as and when it happens, the purpose would be to ask the caste. If that question has been asked to Rahul Gandhi because he champions caste census, then what really is the problem here?
Maria, there is a difference between asking the caste and who doesn't know your caste, as Neeraj has rightly said it. Anurag Thakur's statement is against the SC, ST, BCs. It shows his mindset. And they didn't ask what caste he belongs to. The way he expressed, Maria, it's a below the belt.
Okay, so
I
was it
strongly
inciting a
condemn
better
it.
choice of words could have been used, Nalin? A bit of care, caution.
No, I think I need to just counter a few things. What my dear friend Madhu has said is that, he's put it in a unique position to say that the BJP withdrew support because of Mandal. I think we are absolutely forgetting the Ram temple. We are forgetting about Advaniji's Rath Yatra from Somnath to Ayodhya. We are forgetting about the developments that took place right up to Bihar, his arrest, etc. So there's a lot more than just picking it up, because today caste is what Mr. Rahul Gandhi and his party wants to bring to the center stage. You can't forget history and wipe it out. When Madhu says that nobody asked Indira Gandhi ji, so the question is what happened to Rajiv Gandhi ji? He was from there from 1984 onwards, right up to 89. He didn't implement it on himself. So why are you asking the BJP? Then why didn't you ask for it to be implemented? The question is, what were you doing from 1980 to 1989 for 10 years? So the point being made is, you can't be looking for somebody else's shoulder to shoot the gun to say, why didn't you ask us? Okay, if I ask you something, will you do it? The question is, if you want to do it, you would do it if you are in power. It's in your power. You don't have to wait for the opposition parties to tell you to do it, because the government decides its priorities. So between 80 and 1989, it was not a priority. Now, if you want to go to Golwarkar ji and use about the constitution, so Golwarkar ji never got elected. Okay, he never was the prime minister. Indira ji was. So, what is suspension of the constitution in emergency? So, I mean, you're going way beyond. I'll take it to nearer, which is closer to say your and my age. Is that what happened to emergency suspension? I mean, of it, and everyone being in jail. So, therefore, unfortunately, as a student of history, and most of us as political people also keep a track of history and historical events, I think it's important that, and I'm making this point for Mr. Rahul Gandhi, he comes up with something. So his eco-structure, which is the Congress party, its spokespersons, everyone would logically come out to support him. And that's why at the beginning of the program said, he's leader of opposition of the world's largest democracy. It is for him, his advisors, his supporters, his well-wishers, everyone to
okay, so just
tell
as
him what he wants to do, and it's finally for him to decide.
The Congress ecosystem
so he
will
can decide
support
this
Rahul
path,
Gandhi.
he can decide that path.
There is the other ecosystem which is supporting Anurag Thakur. But what really is happening to the level of discussion, because this was supposed to be a discussion on the budget, Neerja Chaudhary, but we have seen it is invariably playing out in almost in the domain of elections. What we saw a few months ago is playing out inside Parliament as well. But Neerja, talking about Rahul Gandhi and Akhilesh Yadav, the Jugalbandi that we are seeing, the attack on Rahul Gandhi is questioned by Akhilesh Yadav, who is a Samajwadi Party supremo himself, an OBC leader. Do you think that understanding between the two leaders is something very interesting and fascinating as the 18th Lok Sabha, unravels or the dynamics play out?
Look, UP ke do ladke. Yes, the chemistry worked in the elections.
Yeah.
They got them 43 Lok Sabha seats. One saw them in action. They seem to have a mass connect, the two of them together. And that chemistry seems to be continuing inside the Parliament today. So they're coming to each other's rescue. Let's see if it lasts. Of course, 2027 is very much there. Assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh, which may well decide the future trajectory of politics leading up to 2029. So UP is very important both for the opposition and for the BJP.
Absolutely.
And at the heart of the opposition alliance is this Jodi, I would say a very important Jodi now, of opposition, of
Will it actually be a Jai Viru Jodi or the Jodis that we have seen in politics play out? But these are two leaders of different political parties. We have usually seen, Atal Advani or similar Sonia Manmohan. As it has happened. Yes.
Yes.
Go ahead.
That's absolutely. But they will have to move very carefully because the Samajwadi Party has grown at the expense of the Congress. Once the Congress starts to revive, and that process seems to have started, they will fear that it could be at their expense. So how they give leadership to this alliance? Will the Congress Party be generous and say, you take the major share in the assembly elections in 2027, that is your show. 2029, it will be our show. Can they come to that kind of understanding?
Let's see whether that nature of magnanimity plays out. Neerja Chaudhary, always a pleasure to have you on my show, and thank you to Nalin Kohli and Madhu Yakshi God, who found time out of the busy schedule to come and participate in this discussion.
Mandal being stopped by.
That's all from us. Thank you so much for watching.
Co-presented by Motorola Razr 50 Ultra, comes with Google Gemini. Associate sponsor LIC, जिंदगी के साथ भी जिंदगी के बाद भी।
लोन मिलेगा या नहीं, ये आपके क्रेडिट स्कोर पे डिपेंड करता है। तो आज ही अपना क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक करें फ्री में पैसाबाजार.com पर। लोन की जरूरत कभी भी किसी को भी पड़ सकती है।
ठीक से
पैसाबाजार.com।
Get ready for the ride of your life. NDTV brings you the NDTV Auto Show with me, Mugdha Mishra. From the fastest supercars to the sleekest new energy vehicles to your trusted daily ride, we cover it all. Every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. and Sunday at 8:30 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7. Your next great escape starts here.
After great victory by Indian team, and today we are reporting from मोहाली इंटरनेशनल एयरपोर्ट where we are showing these visuals. अर्शदीप हमारे साथ हैं.
ਉਹਦੀ ਪਰਫਾਰਮੈਂਸ ਆਈ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਤੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਰਿਜ਼ਲਟਸ ਮਿਲੇ.
We are in the city of Kanpur today because they have their champion back home, Kuldeep Yadav.
The aspiration for each and everyone to go there and win the World Cup, and we did it.
NDTV proudly upholds its legacy of trust and credibility. According to the prestigious Reuters Institute's Digital News Report 2024, NDTV is the top-most news platform in the country. Number one in both online and offline reach in India. Beating all its competition, NDTV stands for trust. Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. 10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. Banega Swasth India. One world hygiene.
The biggest democratic exercise in the world. Team NDTV covers it from ground zero.
BJP really had to fight a tough election this time.
Unprecedented exercise.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने देश के विकास
Unmatched coverage.
There is no dispute. जनता को decide करना है.
From polling to counting, NDTV brought you the most.
And I'm Maria Shakil. It's anger which refuses to die down. Students of Rao's Coaching Institute continuing with their protests demanding transparency in investigation and compensation for their fellow UPSC aspirants who sadly lost their lives. As the Delhi High Court today pulled up the Delhi police for taking action against the passerby driver of the SUV, it asked some tough questions and demanded time-bound action. The Lieutenant Governor today constituted a committee headed by the Chief Secretary to frame guidelines and regulate coaching centres in Delhi. That's our top focus on left, right and centre. We ask, where does the buck stop? We also have an exclusive with Congress MP from Thiruvananthapuram, Dr. Shashi Tharoor, as the rescue operation continues in Wayanad. Also on the show, we try and understand the impact of assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh. The assassination has triggered threats of revenge on Israel in a region already shaken by the war in Gaza. But first up, here's what happened in the tragedy which played out on Saturday.
Angry students up in the arms in the capital, Delhi Minister Atishi was booed by the protesting students as she visited the protest site at Rajinder Nagar, which saw 3 tragic deaths due to flooding at the coaching centre. Atishi promised action and a magisterial probe into the tragedy. 5 days have passed since the tragic deaths of 3 UPSC aspirants. Students' patience is wearing thin. They are demanding answers and accountability. The Additional Commissioner of the MCD, Tariq Thomas, telling students that there are no excuses for what's happened. The students are on a hunger strike. Some students took a sip of water after the MCD Additional Commissioner assured a meeting with the MCD Commissioner. The students, however, did not break their hunger strike. Students were taken away in 2 buses for the meeting while police officials began clearing the protest site. Students alleged they were forcibly being removed.
यहाँ से प्रोटेस्ट जबरदस्ती हमसे हटाया जा रहा है, फोर्सफुली हटाया जा रहा है, जो कि बहुत गलत है। ये हमारे राइट्स का वायलेशन हो रहा है यहाँ पे।
While the Delhi High Court has summoned the MCD Commissioner and asked tough questions for the civic authorities at large, faculty members spoke to NDTV and demanded that students' demand to be fulfilled so that they can concentrate on their studies. While BJP has been protesting against the Aam Aadmi Party government, Delhi Minister Atishi has said the Delhi government will bring a law to regulate coaching centers' infrastructure and fee. Bureau Report, NDTV.
Joining me on the show, Anmol Panwar. He is the national spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party. Dr. Anika Mehrotra representing the Congress. Anand Kumar is, of course, the founder of Super 30. Akshat Sikri is a UPSC aspirant and also a protester. We also have Aditya Dubey, UPSC aspirant. Aditya and Akshat first, the primary stakeholders in this story. Akshat, what exactly is the demand here? Of course, you know, the fact is that you have been demanding transparency, you have been demanding action, but the question here is that how does being on a hunger strike really solve the problem? All of you have to be, I'm sure you're busy with your preparations.
First of all, I would like to thank NDTV for their transparent reporting and honest journalism that you guys are doing. Secondly, our demands are very loud and clear. We want that proper investigation and immediate compensation should be awarded to all the UPSC aspirants who have expired. The next of kin should be awarded at least 1 crore rupees. 1. 2, we should penalize on urgent basis the MCD officials and the owner of the coaching involved.
Yes.
Thirdly, as students, we want Rental Regulation Act 2021, which was already in Delhi, to be implemented in its full letter and spirit. Because, ma'am, as it is given in our fundamental rights, Article 21. Hello.
Yes.
That Article 21, that it is our fundamental right to live with human dignity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I fully support your demands here, Aditya. Also come in. What exactly is the demand? My question is that all these protests that are happening are very well being taken, but what we are also seeing is that these protests could turn political as well, given the nature of support from certain political parties and opposition from the other. Is that the fear among the students, Aditya?
Yes, ma'am. सबसे पहले तो एनडीटीवी बहुत ही अनबायस तरीके से इस पूरे इश्यूज को उठा रहा है, उसके लिए मैं शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहूँगा आप सभी लोगों को, और हम जैसे स्टूडेंट्स को ये प्लेटफॉर्म मिला है कि हम अपने बातों को यहाँ पे रख सकें। इशू ये है कि जो भी डिमांड्स, जैसे कि अक्षत भाई अभी बता भी रहे थे, जो स्टूडेंट्स के जेन्युइन डिमांड्स कि जो कॉम्पनसेशन की हम बात कर रहे हैं कि कॉम्पनसेशन मिलना चाहिए, एक रेगुलेटिंग अथॉरिटी होनी चाहिए जो कि सारे कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट्स को, चाहे वो दिल्ली हो चाहे पैन इंडिया कहीं भी कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट चल रहे हैं, वहां पे एक कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट्स जो हैं उनको रेगुलेटिंग अथॉरिटी के अंदर लाया जाए। जैसे कि अभी आम आदमी पार्टी की जो सरकार है वो आज उन्होंने कहा भी है कि हम इस चीज पे एक लॉज जो है एक लीगल जो है लॉ एक बना के हम लेके आएंगे। बट प्रॉब्लम ये है कि स्टूडेंट्स जो है वो जो डिमांड्स कर रहे हैं, और इसमें जो एक इशू है कि क्या ये प्रोटेस्ट पॉलिटिकल हो सकता है या नहीं हो सकता है। प्रोटेस्ट पॉलिटिकल अगर होता है उसमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, पॉलिटिकल होना भी चाहिए, पॉलिटिकल हो उसमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, बट स्टूडेंट्स के जो इश्यूज हैं वो पैन इंडिया लेवल पे जाने चाहिए। हम लोग कोई यहाँ पे पॉलिटिक्स या कोई यहाँ पे किसी राजनीतिक पार्टी को सपोर्ट नहीं कर रहा है।
I agree with you completely here that here the demands of the students are very, very legitimate. We also have RP Singh, spokesperson of the BJP, joining us, and Ravi Kapoor, former IRS officer and UPSC mentor as well. Ravi, the point here being made by the students here who have been protesting is very, very legitimate. Their demands are legitimate. What they are saying is that there has to be a regulatory body to ensure that similar incidents do not repeat. Can there be a guarantee that what happened on Saturday doesn't happen again? Because what we are seeing play out is not even proper investigation. Not even one MCD officer has been questioned or arrested or suspended. No action whatsoever.
You're right, and I think it's very important to mention that it's just because of this incident that a much larger issue has come to light. This is not the only place, Old Rajinder Nagar, where you find such infrastructure. It has been like this since forever. I was a UPSC aspirant. I spent a year, 2 years on those streets. I've spent a lot of hours of my life in those basements. It was bad then. It is worse now. Also, Old Rajinder Nagar is not the only place. There are hubs like these all over the country. And if you want to take an example, just in our city, in Delhi, you'll find that Mukherjee Nagar, which is the other alternative hub spot for UPSC, is even worse. The infrastructure there is even more dilapidated. And you can expect a problem like this. Also, I think they're a very long way from a point where we can confidently say that this will not happen again. I have fear that it will. And if not this, then something else. And there are very clear indications of this. For the first part, we found just a few days ago that one student got electrocuted. That
Yes,
if you
that's
see that
right.
image, you can't get that image out of your head. It's a harrowing image for that student. And if you just walk down those streets, you will find that the infrastructure is just not up to the mark. You will find naked wires all over the place. You will find that it is layer upon layer upon layer of buildings, of infrastructure, absolutely no consideration for safety. You'll also find that it's very prone to stampedes. Very, very narrow alleys, very narrow staircases, very steep, and clearly made without any consideration for the building bylaws.
Yes.
So we have a very long way to go.
आनंद कुमार जी, जब स्टूडेंट्स compete कर जाते हैं तो बड़े बड़े होर्डिंग्स लगते हैं, बड़ी बड़ी एडवर्टीजमेंट्स निकलती है न्यूज़पेपर्स में, क्लेम करते हुए सारे कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट सेलिब्रेट करते हैं क्योंकि उनका फिर है कि उसी ग्राउंड पर और स्टूडेंट्स साइन करेंगे उनके कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट में. लेकिन जब स्टूडेंट्स को बेसिक प्रिविलेज और बेसिक राइट्स की बात होती है कि एक ढंग का स्पेस मिले जहां पर फ्लडिंग नहीं हो, तो वो फैसिलिटी कितनी टफ होती है कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट को प्रोवाइड करने के लिए. ये तो बेसिक चीज़ है.
ये बहुत दुखद घटना है हम लोगों के लिए, पूरे समाज के लिए कि कोई बच्चे की इस तरह से मौत हो जाती है. तो आज के तारीख में आप ये जान लीजिए कि पूरा कोचिंग का व्यवसाय एक बड़ा बिजनेस का रूप ले लिया है. शिक्षा एक व्यवसाय बन गई है. ऐसी स्थिति में क्या होता है कि लोग मार्केटिंग टीम बना रहे हैं, टारगेट पूरा कर रहे हैं, पढ़ाने का टारगेट पूरा नहीं कर रहे हैं, नंबर ऑफ कैंडिडेट्स के एडमिशन का टारगेट पूरा कर रहे हैं, और बेसिक सुविधा को तो ये बात ही नहीं है. सच आपने बताया और बहुत अच्छी बात कही कि वो लोग जो सक्सेसफुल होता है उसकी तस्वीर दिखाते हैं, बच्चों को लुभाते हैं. तो इस पर रोकथाम होनी चाहिए. बेसमेंट वाली घटना पर होनी चाहिए. फायर का क्या व्यवस्था, उसको आग बुझाने की, इस पर और जो मापदंड है वो तो होना ही चाहिए. साथ साथ मेरा मानना यह है कि एक कमेटी होनी चाहिए गवर्नमेंट की जिसके पास जाके बच्चे रिपोर्ट कर सके कि हमने पूरा पैसा दिया लेकिन अभी पढ़ाई पूरी नहीं हुई, हमारे डाउट्स क्लियर नहीं किए जाते हैं. इस तरह के तमाम ऐसी चीजें हैं. जिस टीचर से पढ़वाने का चेहरा दिखाया गया था, दावा किया गया था, वो टीचर्स तो कभी आते ही नहीं है या एक आध दो दिन मोटिवेशन देके चले जाते. तो इन तमाम चीजों को नियंत्रित करने चाहिए. और अभी 2 स्टूडेंट ने जो बोला एकदम जायज है. एकदम सख्त से सख्त कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए, कड़ी से कड़ी सजा मिलनी चाहिए और सरकार को और कोचिंग सेंटर को दोनों को मुआवजा देना चाहिए. इसके समर्थन में हमें निष्कर्ष मेरा ये कहना है कि कुछ भी हो
जी,
स्टूडेंट को सेंटर में रख के बातें होनी चाहिए, ना कि व्यापार बनाया जाए, इसको खराब किया जाए माहौल.
जी बिल्कुल सही कहा आपने कि द स्पॉटलाइट एंड सोल्यूशन हैज टू बी फाउंड फॉर द स्टूडेंट्स. But our political party is really thinking about students right now, or are they just trying to do some kind of cover up? And that's where my question for Anmol Panwar comes in. Anmol, what kind of action or investigation is happening here? Not a single MCD official has been acted against. The question is that is this not a cover up which is happening?
Maria ji, immediately after the incident, the Honorable Minister Atishi ji ordered a magisterial probe and directed the Chief Secretary to submit the report within 24 hours. We agree with Aditya and Akshat that strictest possible action must be taken against the officials, and we assure today the Honorable Minister along with the Mayor and area MLA visited the incident site and met the UPSC aspirants. And the students have been assured that once the investigation is complete, strictest action will be taken against all the officials, irrespective of their rank. No one will be spared because there's a very unfortunate incident. And we have also introduced a Coaching Institute Regulation Act wherein there are provisions related to infrastructure, fees hike, and the safety and facilities to the students. So, and 10 representatives will be included in the process of drafting that law.
No,
And
but all
meanwhile,
that is
until
fine. But can you guarantee, as a party which is running the Municipal Corporation of Delhi, that after the rains which have happened tonight, there will be no such incident happening tomorrow? That that several coaching institutes which are still functioning with the basement, having those libraries, there would be no waterlogging and no more deaths tomorrow. Can you guarantee that? All this law and long-term plans can wait perhaps. What about tomorrow?
Maria ji, we are working tirelessly for the people of Delhi, and immediately after the incident, more than 200 notices have been issued and 75 such basements have been sealed by the Mayor of Delhi, Ms. Shelly Oberoi. In Preet Vihar, in Rajendra Nagar, in Mukherjee Nagar, wherever these illegal basements were working. In fact, the place where this incident occurred, they were granted permission only for storage space, whereas they were illegally using it for
No, but how did it continue to operate is the question. We also have RP Singh. RP Singh, besides being the spokesperson of the BJP, is also former MLA of Rajendra Nagar. RP Singh ji, how many of such basements have closed? Because now we are seeing bulldozer justice by Aam Aadmi Party.
I give a challenge. Please ask your cameraman to come with me. I'll show the library is still being run. The coaching centers, the classrooms are still there. And also, Shani Braji said that I never interrupted, please. I never interrupted you. I'll stay quiet. You please go carry on. I mean, you want to say what you want to say, please. You want to spread falsehood, please go ahead. I'm keeping quiet, please.
Go ahead, आप बोलिए.
इनको बोलने दीजिए, इनकी आदत, इनका पेट नहीं भरता, इनका झूठ बोले मेरा पेट नहीं भरता.
Go ahead, this is your
No,
turn.
this is Shali Brai. This is Shali Brai on 18th June.
और जो हमारे 4 फीट से नीचे के नाले ड्रेन्स हैं, उनकी 85% तक हम लोग उनकी साफ सफाई कर चुके. और साथ ही नगर निगम के तमाम अधिकारियों को मैं धन्यवाद करना चाहूंगी कि पूरे एक्शन प्लान पे 85 और 92% काम करके
85 and 92% काम कर दिया है. तो कर दिया तो फिर ये ऐसी हालत क्यों है? Why this situation has occurred? One. Secondly, how can a building run a coaching center or a library from the basement? How can hospital? I'm not naming the hospital, but I'm telling you, hospital in that very area, Rajendra Nagar area itself, is running a physiotherapy center and other centers from the basement. They are not allowed. They are only allowed for the parking, but they are running it. It means someone is taking money, someone is charging fee for that, and that money is going to someone's pocket. That will include the elected people or the executive, whoever it is. But yes, the money is passing hands, and that's the reason that this is happening. The road which you are talking about, this Pusa, this old Indian Nagar road, the water logging happens year after year for last 3 years, but no one bothers. Now you can blame that, you had a BJP government. Now they have another accusation saying that, the officers don't pay heed to us. What can we do? No, same officers ensure that they get you 56 crore worth of sheesh mahal or CM's residence. The same officers get the liquor policy implemented. एक के साथ एक free वाली policy यही officer implement कराते हैं. यही दारू के अंदर 5 से 12% तक मिशन यही अफसर बढ़ा देते हैं. But when it comes to people,
इससे पहले आम आदमी पार्टी से पहले कांग्रेस पार्टी थी. So let me ask Monica Marotra.
Can I another second?
Yes,
Maria, another second.
Yes, please go ahead, sir.
Another second. In this very area, this is Old Indinagar. There's a place named as Pamposh Road, where this our MLA stays. I mean, please ask your cameraman to go right now and see how it is flooded. 5 feet water on Pamposh Road, Nayana Gaon, Pandav Nagar, Budh Nagar. This is flooded.
Yes.
Because 92% नालियां साफ हो गई हैं.
Okay, Dr. Anika Mehrotra, the
Can
court
I
has asked
respond,
some
Maria?
very relevant questions, and that brings me to the fact that there was Sheila Dikshit, the longest serving Chief Minister of Delhi. At that time, there was no such horror playing out in the national capital. The question then is, drain desilting, did it happen? And right now, the nature of interrogation and the entire investigation, is it really happening?
Ma'am, I feel mere lip service after the incidents occurred brings you nowhere. You have lost vulnerable lives, students, and that too, we talk about education and stuff like that. It's unfortunate. And then you're doing just lip service. Still the blame game is on. Stop it. The buck has to stop. Every year after year, you're saying 10 years down the line, Aam Aadmi is very much there in power, isn't it, ma'am? No denying to it. And MCD they didn't have, now they have the MCD. And still they feel that LG is not cooperating. No, it's their responsibility, ma'am. If the people of Delhi have given you power, you have to ensure that they are not left in a lurch. It's a roller coaster ride for good 10 years. They've ruined Delhi. What Sheila ji had done, creating into no plastic, no kerosene, building beautiful flyovers and greenery, all that has been damaged. The Delhi actually is going through under great havoc. And it's very unfortunate. We feel, ma'am, it's okay, you're in power. Everybody is willing to cooperate. We all are there. But for heaven's sake, stop the blame game. You cannot afford to just have lip service, ma'am, and this junior officers being blamed. 10 years or 5 years, some MLA must have been there. Okay, MCD was not there, but the MLA's duty was there, isn't it, ma'am? Wasn't it responsible to look around and see the infrastructure of that area? You've been working.
Fellow India partner, forget about the BJP, what about the Congress? At least to them you should be honest.
Yes, we have been up in the streets. We will not enter in anything going wrong. Whichever party is in power.
Yes.
Look, ma'am, not at the
cost of I agree, it should not be seen from the political prism, but why is it becoming a political story then?
Ma'am, we are not doing it at all. We want people in power to do their justified work.
The people in power here is Anmol Panwar. Anmol Panwar, respond, and then I bring in others. Go ahead.
Maria ji, it's not about Congress or BJP. It's about the people of Delhi. People of Delhi has given the mandate to Aam Aadmi Party and to the Chief Minister. But the Lieutenant Governor, we know how they are stripping the elected governments of its legislative and executive powers. After the promulgation of the ordinance, after 8 years of hearing by a 5-judge constitution bench of the Honorable Supreme Court, when they unequivocally decreed that services will be part of Delhi government, this government, central government, brought an ordinance and snatched all the powers of the elected government, which is a disrespect to the mandate of people of Delhi. And the officials, whether of PWD, whether of MCD, whether of DJB, all of them report to the Lieutenant Governor. So he is responsible.
Can I call the bluff, please?
Sir, do not interrupt. I didn't interrupt you.
वो शीश महल किसके कहने पे बना था? वो शीश महल किसके 56 करोड़ रुपए का
किसने बनाए थे?
इन्हीं ऑफिसर से बनाया था आपके कहने पर।
एमसीडी में भ्रष्टाचार के 14 साल किसने बनाए थे? 14 साल में ड्रेनेज सिस्टम क्यों नहीं सही कर पाया?
5% से 12% मिशन कर दिया था, वो इन्हीं ऑफिसर ने किया था। शीला दीक्षित ने 700 करोड़ रुपए के मुनाफे का जलबोर दिया था। 76,000 करोड़ रुपए का घाटा है।
आप यहाँ पे लाशों पे राजनीति कर रहे हो बेशर्मों की तरह। से के अधिकारियों को बर्खास्त करें। एमसीडी के नुमाइंदे,
आप चोरों के नुमाइंदे हैं, आप चोरों के नुमाइंदे हैं।
आप लोग ड्राइवर पकड़ रहे हैं,
आपके
आप
हाथ
इनोसेंट
खून
आदमी
से
को पकड़ रहे
रंगे
हैं,
हुए हैं,
लेकिन आप
आपके
एनसीडी के
चलते हुए
अधिकारियों को कोई
बच्चे
कार्रवाई नहीं
चले
कर रहे।
गए, आपके
बताइए
चलते हुए बच्चे
आप
चले गए।
देश को बताइए
are disappointed with the politicians because this Aam Aadmi party passing the buck, not taking responsibility of anything going wrong with Delhi,
I think
actually not acceptable. Similarly,
we all know the reality.
the problem is that you cannot not accept the flaws and the problems which are with Delhi because you are the government.
The officials are
okay,
overriding
Akshat and Aditya only on the screen now.
I would like to make a point here, ma'am.
Yes, please, go ahead.
We want everything, but not this.
Yes.
It is what is just being showcased here is an everyday example that we have to go at the protest. Some people come from the right, some from the left. They target each other, and the cause of the students is left nowhere. Same thing is happening here. We do not want this to happen. What we want is immediate solution of our grievances.
Yes.
We do not want this issue to be politicized. I am making this loud and clear. There have been political leaders who have come here for the last 3-4 days. We are allowing them to sit here with us, but do not take the mic. Do not blame each other. What we want is a solution. It is the life of our aspirants like us who stay here, pay hefty rents. It is at like it's 3.5 lakhs a year to stay here, just to stay here and study. That is the kind of hefty amount that we are paying. And again, we are being sidelined at a time when our friends have died. Is that what we are here for? Is that what the leaders are here for? You are our representatives. We are the bureaucrats of the future. Please do not politicize this issue. Give us solutions. Period.
So stop using basements for libraries and for coaching centers. You should boycott them.
Am I audible now?
Let's have the politicians and the students on air together. What were you saying, Arvind?
I am requesting them, they should boycott all basements for using of coaching centers and libraries. And for your information, sir, I am there every day, but I don't come and be part of your procession because I don't want to politicize it. And that's the reason. We know what the solution is. Solution is simple.
So why are you
that
not
all
dismissing the
basements
NCD
should be
officers who are
banned
responsible
from
for this?
using
So
as used as coaching centers and libraries.
Politicians, but unfortunately, on this show itself, the students are disappointed because of the Aam Aadmi Party blaming the Lieutenant Governor, the BJP blaming the Aam Aadmi Party. There's no solution in sight. Okay, let me bring
Delhi ke malik hai. They claim themselves Delhi ke malik.
So आपके भी तो MPs हैं, आपने क्या किया?
मैन MP का रोल सिर्फ पार्लियामेंट के अंदर पॉलिसी बनाना है और इसी को इम्प्लीमेंट करने का काम कॉर्पोरेटर का है। अच्छा मेरा चैलेंज से बात करिए, ये दोनों स्टूडेंट वहाँ के हैं, इनसे पूछिए कि वहाँ की लोकल कॉर्पोरेटर है क्या विजय? Where is the local corporator? Where is the local municipal corporator?
I'll give the last word to Anand sir. Please go ahead, Aditya.
Is the local municipal?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, what we are seeing right now here is again the blame game from the political parties. We don't need any blame games of the political party. We don't need the arop pratyarop from the political parties. We need actions. We don't need jumlas. We need actions from the policy makers. हम चाहते हैं कि stringent law बने जो 3 लोगों ने जान गंवाई है और आगे इस तरह के जो घटनाएं हैं वो इस तरीके से ना हो। इस तरीके के लिए सॉल्यूशन चाहिए तो आप स्ट्रिंजेंट लॉ बना के करिए या और कोई सॉल्यूशन हमें दीजिए ताकि कोचिंग चला रहे हैं वो हम स्टूडेंट्स का जो है वो गलत फायदा ना उठाएं, जो रेंट बढ़ा देते हैं वो ना उठाएं और रेंट जो हमसे ज्यादा ली जाती है उस चीज के लिए ना किया जाए। और मैं चाहता हूं कि ब्लेम गेम ना करें क्योंकि अभी ये हीट ऑफ द मोमेंट है, अभी कुछ खाना पूर्ति के लिए अथॉरिटीज कुछ ना कुछ कर देंगी, लेकिन हम चाहते हैं कि इस पे एक पॉलिसी बने और पैन इंडिया लेवल पे पड़े, सिर्फ दिल्ली में ना बने, पटना के लिए भी बने, राजस्थान के लिए भी बने, जयपुर के लिए भी बने, छत्तीसगढ़ के लिए बने। पैन इंडिया पे एक स्ट्रिंजेंट लॉ जो है वो पार्लियामेंट को टेबल करना ही चाहिए क्योंकि आने वाले समय में हो सकता है कि 3 महीने बाद फिर ये सारी चीजें वापस होने लगेंगी। मुखर्जी नगर में कुछ दिन पहले जो है 22 लोग जो है, आपने वो वीडियो भी देखा होगा कि लोग छत से कूद रहे थे, स्टूडेंट छत से कूद रहे थे। तो इस तरह की चीजें कब तक चलेंगी और ये ब्लेम गेम कब तक चलेगा? वी डोंट नीड कि आज ये मुद्दा चल रहा है इसलिए पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज जो है वो प्रोटेस्ट साइट पे आ रही है, लीडर्स आ रहे हैं और वहां पे बातचीत कर रहे हैं। पिछले कई सालों से क्यों नहीं स्टूडेंट्स के मांगों को रख रहे थे? क्यों नहीं ओल्ड राजेंद्र नगर और करोल बाग के एरिया और मुखर्जी नगर में जाके देख रहे थे? क्यों नहीं स्टूडेंट्स का हाल जान रहे थे? आज क्योंकि ये चीजें हो गई हैं, एक हादसा हो गया है, 3 लोगों की जान चली गई है, तो फिर आज ये चीजें होने लगी हैं। मैं चाहता हूं कि स्ट्रिंजेंट लॉ बने, एक्शंस जो है सरकार अब एक्शन मोड में आए, जुमलेबाजी ना करे, एक्शन करे, और जो स्टेक होल्डर्स है स्टूडेंट्स, उनके बारे में सोचे।
स्टेक होल्डर्स के बारे में सोचेंगे कब आरपी सिंह जी और अनमोल पनवर जी? 30 सेकेंड्स आपके लिए। मिस्टर आरपी सिंह।
स्टेक होल्डर्स के लिए सोचने के लिए चीफ मिनिस्टर चाहिए, एक चीफ मिनिस्टर चाहिए जो कि लॉस को पास करेगा, एक कैबिनेट मीटिंग बुलाएगा। वो चीफ मिनिस्टर तो जेल में है, वो कहां से बुलाएंगे? और मेरे दोनों दोस्तों से पूछना चाहता हूं कि आपने पिछले 3 दिन में 4 दिन में लोकल कॉर्पोरेटर देखा क्या कभी? वहां पर लोकल म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेटर है ना वहां पर, जरा बता दीजिए कभी एक बार भी शक्ल देखी हो उनकी वहां पर? क्यों नहीं दिखेंगे? और ये भी जानकारी ले लेनी चाहिए कि वहां के जो म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेटर है उनका रोल क्या, इन सब बच्चों को सब पता है वहां पर, ये उन्हीं से डील करते हैं डे टू डे लेवल पे। प्रॉब्लम इज दैट दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट इज स्लीपिंग इन स्लम्बर्स, दे डोंट वांट टू वेक अप, दे आर नॉट बॉदर्ड हाउ टू इंप्रूव ऑन थिंग्स, दे कैन ओनली ब्लेम एलजी साहब ने ये नहीं करने दिया, एलजी साहब ने वो नहीं करने दिया। मैं रिपीट करता हूं, शराब का घोटाला करना हो, 5 से 12% कमीशन करनी हो तो एलजी साहब की जरूरत नहीं, अपने लिए शीश महल बनाना 56 करोड़ का एलजी साहब की जरूरत नहीं। अरे वो आप, क्योंकि आपका मन नहीं है, आपका मन हो तो आप अभी आतिशी को बोलो आज के आज ऑर्डर पास करें कि दिल्ली की किसी बेसमेंट में कोई कोचिंग सेंटर नहीं चलेगा। आज के आज ऑर्डर पास करें, आज के ऑर्डर पास करें कि किसी भी हॉस्पिटल के अंदर हॉस्पिटल फैसिलिटी being run from the basement.
Unfortunately, the lack of coordination between the LG, the center, and the state.
Multiple
Can I respond?
Agencies.
Maria ji, can I respond?
Yes, Anmol, quickly. 30
and lack
seconds.
of willpower, lack of willpower, ma'am.
आरपी सिंह जी, आप जितना बेवकूफ समझते हैं ना जनता को, उतनी है नहीं दरअसल। People are very wise, they know your nefarious design. सबको पता है एलजी साहब के अधिकारी किस तरह से चुने हुए मंत्रियों की बात भी नहीं सुनते। रिपोर्ट की आप बात कर रहे थे, 85% रिपोर्ट की, देखिए आपको 85%
the focus and only discussion should be solutions and how this political economy which is running can be tackled with. We are seeing politicians fight over it. That's why Anand sir, unfortunate blame game. The issue is, where is the solution? And while we talk about regulatory authorities and policies, my concern is immediate. With rains continuing, we are in the monsoon season. Can there be an immediate solution? How do we ensure that the students are protected, that there is safety of the students?
देखिए भाई, हम हाथ जोड़कर तमाम राजनीतिक पार्टी के लोगों से बोल रहे हैं, अभी लड़ने का वक्त नहीं है। थोड़ा सोचिए उन दोस्तों के बारे में जिनके दोस्त आज दुनिया में नहीं, उन माता पिता के बारे में जिन्होंने बच्चों को खो दिया। यहाँ दूसरे पर आरोप प्रत्यारोप लगाने के बजाय सब मिलकर सोचे कि ऐसी घटना की पुनरावृत्ति नहीं हो। जैसा अभी बच्चों ने बताया बहुत अच्छा कि ये सिर्फ दिल्ली की बात नहीं है, पूरे देश में एक हॉल में 1000 बच्चे, 1500 बच्चे भी छोटे छोटे शहरों में पढ़ते हैं, उन पर भी रोक लगनी चाहिए। अचानक भगदड़ मच जाती है, बच्चे सीढ़ियों से गिरकर मर जाते, तो ये पूरे देश के स्तर पर सख्त कानून बनना चाहिए। नंबर 1 और नंबर 2, जो अभी घटना घटी है वैसी घटना की पुनरावृत्ति न हो, इसका तुरंत इंतजाम करना चाहिए। और बच्चे जितने मुआवजा बोल रहे हैं उससे ज्यादा सरकार और समाज और कोचिंग वालों को देना चाहिए। और बस हमारी यही गुजारिश है, सब मिलजुल कर इसका सॉल्यूशन निकाले बजाय बहस करते।
और आपको लगता है आनंद सर कि कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट्स वाले भी अभी इमीडिएटली जिम्मेदारी लें सुरक्षा के लिए स्टूडेंट्स की? क्योंकि अगर बेसमेंट में ऑपरेट कर रहे हैं तो बेसमेंट बंद कर दें ताकि वाटर लॉगिंग नहीं हो, इस तरह की घटना ना हो।
बेसमेंट बंद कर दें, बेसमेंट बंद कर दे, बैठने की जगह अच्छे से रखे, एक हॉल में नंबर ऑफ स्टूडेंट का हिसाब किताब रखे, सारे खड्डों पर खर्रे उतरे और बच्चों के हित में काम करे, क्योंकि बच्चे ही पर उनका भी भविष्य और बच्चे ही देश का भविष्य। इस भावना से कि हमारे बच्चे के साथ, अपने जन्मे हुए बच्चे के साथ ये दुर्घटनाएं होती तो कितना बुरा लगता है, ये सोचकर हर व्यक्ति को डिसीजन लेना चाहिए, सुधार के लिए कुछ काम करें।
शुक्रिया हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए। बिग थैंक यू टू ऑल द पैनलिस्ट्स हु फाउंड टाइम आउट to participate in this discussion. We are putting out that discussion on ndtv.com. We are slipping into a short break. Coming up, an exclusive with Dr. Shashi Tharoor, managing editor. Nitin Gadkari has spoken to him. We'll be playing out that interview in just a few seconds.
Co-presented by Motorola Razr 50 Ultra. Comes with Google.
लोन मिलेगा या नहीं ये आपके क्रेडिट स्कोर पर डिपेंड करता है। आज ही जाइए पैसाबाजार.com पर और अपना क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक कीजिए फ्री में, क्योंकि लोन की जरूरत किसी को भी कभी भी पड़ सकती है। एक चल एक्टिंग कोड भेज बनो। ए आयो बात बोल। पैसाबाजार.com।
After great victory by Indian team, and today we are reporting from Mohali International Airport where we are showing these visuals. Arshdeep हमारे साथ है।
बहुत ही परफॉर्मेंस आई सारा दी से बढ़िया रिजल्ट्स मिले।
We are in the city of Kanpur today because they have their champion back home, Kuldeep Yadav.
Desperation for each and everyone to go there and win the World Cup, and we did it.
NDTV proudly upholds its legacy of trust and credibility. According to the prestigious Reuters Institute's Digital News Report 2024, NDTV is the top-most news platform in the country. Number one in both online and offline reach in India. Beating all its competition, NDTV stands for trust.
लोन मिलेगा या नहीं ये आपके क्रेडिट स्कोर पे डिपेंड करता है। तो आज ही पैसाबाजार.com पर जाइए और अपना क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक कीजिए फ्री में, क्योंकि लोन की जरूरत कभी भी किसी को भी पड़ सकती है। बस एक्टिंग करा लो इनसे। पैसाबाजार.com, क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक, आदत अच्छी है।
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
लोन मिलेगा या नहीं ये आपके क्रेडिट स्कोर पे डिपेंड करता है। तो आज ही अपना क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक करें फ्री में पैसाबाजार.com पर। लोन की जरूरत कभी भी किसी को भी पड़ सकती है।
ठीक से एक्टिंग नहीं।
पैसाबाजार.com।
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. 10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society, and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. Banega Swasth India. One world hygiene.
The biggest democratic exercise in the world. Team NDTV covers it from ground zero.
BJP really had to fight a tough election this time.
Unprecedented exercise. Unmatched coverage.
There is no dispute. जनता को decide करना है.
From polling to counting, NDTV brought you the most trustworthy news and updates. Elections mean NDTV.
After great victory by Indian team, and today we are reporting from
lots and lots of landslides in Wayanad, which took much smaller numbers of lives, but lives have been lost in 2018 during the floods. In 2019, a place called Puthumala in Wayanad, which claimed 17 lives, more landslides in 21 and 22. So it's not as if we have never seen any of this before. The challenge is how do we predict them so we can evacuate people before the worst happens. And that's something that surely we ought to be able to develop the technological and other skill to be able to do more effectively. I don't think the blame game is where we should be going when lives are at stake right now and we're trying to rescue people. What we need to do is create systems that work better. Now, there's been a lot of talk of the Gadgil Commission report, which had said in 2013 that this whole Western Ghats area should have certain zones reserved for ecologically sensitive areas, and that there was resistance to it from politicians and government and so on, because their voters didn't want to move. But having said that, it's also true, Nikunj, that in the Gadgil Commission report, the 3 villages that have been destroyed in the last 48 hours did not get listed under ecologically sensitive areas. So even there, it was very difficult to predict that this would be an area where such a tragedy would occur. So I don't think we should be going around pointing fingers too much. I think we have to understand the scale of the problem, which, by the way, is getting worse. The global warming phenomenon, everyone knows, the warming of the Arabian Sea has caused deep cloud systems to form that are creating extremely intense, heavy rainfall over shorter periods, which means the soil gets quickly saturated and landslides are possible. You may have heard that the forecast for that weekend, this last weekend, in that area was 62 meters of rain. They got 322 meters. Now, what do you do with that kind of thing? The earth is not able to sustain it. So that is a major challenge. We are relying very heavily on remote sensing because the ISRO people have a national remote sensing center. But experts are claiming that remote sensing just isn't good enough. You need grids on the ground to be able to anticipate landslides. We don't have that. We don't have an actual on-ground sensor grid. We need much more real-time data gathering and monitoring, which again is something that it shouldn't be beyond our technological abilities, but it's not been happening enough. Almost half of Kerala's terrain, 50%, consists of slopes exceeding 20 degrees. So you can imagine how susceptible we are to soil erosion and landslides. And that is the real challenge, the scale of the problem that Kerala is facing. We're a densely populated state. It's easy to sit here and say, move people, relocate them, but relocate them to where? To do what? What is their livelihood going to be once they relocated? How are they going to be able to manage if you take them away from their farms and their homes and their sources of income? These are questions that have to be addressed and that require vast amounts of resources as well as planning.
Well, Dr. Tharoor, I'm glad that you bring to this advanced warning systems. The Home Minister did talk about it. Many would say that that the nature of the tragedy is such that such kind of blaming each other or blame game should be avoided, but he has said that we have invested nearly 2,000 crore rupees in the advanced warning systems. Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan also had certain comments to make, but my question to you would remain, Dr. Tharoor, that you are a multiple term MP from the state of Kerala. The danger there is lurking, but in many parts of the country also the danger is increasingly becoming imminent.
I've lost your sound, can't hear you. I've lost your sound, Nikunj.
Dr. Tharoor, if that audio is fine.
I can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Dr. Tharoor, my colleagues are trying if they can get my audio through to you.
Could you repeat your last point, please?
Yes, I was saying that in Kerala the danger is lurking, but in many other parts of the country also that danger is very, very imminent. Ecologically sensitive zones are only increasing in the face of increasing onslaught of climate change. The issue is that there are some very educated, well internationally exposed MPs, member of parliaments like you. Would you going forward, Dr. Tharoor, be taking some sort of a position in the parliament or start to champion these causes which generally have been on the political back burner in this country but are increasingly touching the lives of millions of people and cannot be any more ignored?
Look, I'm very, very happy to participate in the discussion, but I don't want to presume that an MP has any executive responsibility. The responsibility is always with the state government and the central government, because they are the ones who actually control the resources, the people, the staff, and have the right to take certain decisions. But I'm very happy to be part of a serious discussion, because prevention and mitigation are clearly essential to prevent these things from happening in future. When Mr. Amit Shah says 2,000 crores, it sounds like a big sum of money, but maybe that's not enough for something like on-ground sensor grids, for example. Maybe the mapping of potential landslide routes will take a huge amount of investment of time and effort and technology, so that we can actually create legitimate understandings of areas that should be off-limit for settlements or even tourism activities or anything. Because, we've been talking in Kerala about ecotourism, and Wayanad's a perfect place for ecotourism. But maybe even that may be a problem if you lose a whole bunch of eco-tourists in the next landslide. That's not going to help Kerala either. So we need to find solutions, and I must admit that the ecology of our state is deeply fragile, and yet people have to live, people have to earn, people have to find means of livelihoods. And frankly, when politicians are asked to find policy solutions, they are also very strongly susceptible to what voters want and don't want. That's normal in a democracy. And voters don't want to be inconvenienced if they want to live. They don't want to die either, I want to assure you. But at the same time, they are extremely concerned about some of the more far-reaching recommendations of the ecologists. We'll have to find a realistic way of accommodating all of these interests.
And my final question to you, at least as far as this tragedy is concerned, Dr. Tharoor, is that surely now that the tragedy has happened, or the tragedies at least in Kerala, as you have mentioned, the frequency of these tragedies is increasing. There must be at least ways to mitigate the crisis. There must at least be ways should be found to reduce the number of dead in these tragedies. Of course, the nature will take some time, some toll, but we have to ensure a way in which at least the human cost of these tragedies can be minimized. And the world has multiple examples as such where the human cost of these tragedies have been minimized actually.
Absolutely. So what is essential then is this kind of mitigation and prevention that I talked about. And on the prevention side, we need on-ground sensor grids that will actually anticipate landslides before they occur, particularly in areas that are prone to this. We need to actually create route maps, as it were, of landslide routes and have off-limit areas. We need to ensure, frankly, that in Kerala, where 17,000 square kilometers of our state on the western side of the Western Ghats has already been mapped as landslide prone, that we take special measures, and even the central government finds special resources for this. Because the truth is that between 2015 and 22, Kerala had the highest number of landslides in the whole of India. And of the 30 most landslide prone districts in our country, 10 are in Kerala. So Kerala has a genuinely sort of fragile ecology and is very susceptible to landlines and to landslides and floods. So we need to be able to help the states particularly. Equally, Kerala has to do much more about reforestation and prevention of deforestation, because in the 1950s, 85% of Wayanad was just forest. It was all under forest cover. Since then, 62% of the district's forests have disappeared. Plantations alone have risen by about 1,800%. So again, development is understandable, but development must go side by side with an awareness of the ecological risks. And that too is a way of preventing the worst happening. There are a number of reports. I think in the Lok Sabha today, Amit Shah ji said that IIT Delhi had apparently come up with a report 6 years ago that wanted 4,000 people to be moved out of the areas that have now been devastated. I've not seen that report. I don't know whether it was shared with the state government. We are in the opposition in the state as well, so I don't know how much the state government was aware of it. But the question would still come up to the state government: how do you move these 4,000 people? Where do you move them to? What kind of livelihood would they have? Where would you find the land for them in a densely populated Kerala? So we need broader, humane solutions, remembering that while lives are precious, livelihoods also cannot be overlooked.
Dr. Tharoor, my final question to you about the ruckus in the parliament. Your leader of opposition, got in the crosshairs of a rather casteist slur or a casteist commentary, and the Congress party is up in the arms, in fact threatening to move a privilege motion against the Prime Minister. You are a third-term MP, you are a third-term member of the Lok Sabha. What are your thoughts on this, sir? Should that commentary could have completely been avoided?
Much of that speech was very avoidable, frankly, that former Minister Anurag Thakur delivered, including, I might add, the gratuitous references to a 35-year-old novel I wrote, a satirical novel called The Great Indian Novel. But he's given my writing publicity. I can't object to that part. I will object, however, to the fact that he has actually said that, those who do not know their caste should not be talking for what a caste census. Number one, that is extremely inappropriate language. I'm sure it will be expunged from the record, but everyone has heard it, and therefore expunging it from the record doesn't solve the problem. Secondly, it has come out in a way that I think is demeaning in many ways to the standards of discourse in Parliament. And then for the Prime Minister to tweet urging everybody to listen to the speech was quite shocking. And this is why the Congress party is up in arms, Nikunj. We have really to maintain a decent standard of conversation and civility. If we're going to use Parliament as the temple of democracy, the highest legislative forum of our country, there must be certain standards. Our speaker keeps saying, is Sadan ka garima, but where is the garima in this kind of talk?
Thank you, Dr. Tharoor, very much. Thank you very much for joining us. I know it's a sad day for your state, and your thoughts and prayers would be with your fellow Malayalis. I won't take any more of your time. I wish that Kerala is safeguarded, ring-fenced against any such future tragedies, Dr. Tharoor.
Thank you very much, Nikunj. Absolutely. Take care.
Shifting focus to another story now, Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh was assassinated early on Wednesday morning in Iran. The Palestinian militant group and Tehran have confirmed the killing. The assassination has triggered threats of revenge on Israel in a region which is already shaken by the war in Gaza. Iran's Revolutionary Guards confirmed the death of Haniyeh hours after he attended a swearing-in ceremony for the country's new president and said it was investigating the murder. How will this high-profile assassination impact the West Asian region, and is there a real possibility now of Israel-Hamas war expanding in the region? Joining me now is Lital Shemesh, Israeli journalist and also news anchor of Channel 14. Thank you so much for your time. My question would be certainly that is there now a real danger of this entire war expanding in the region?
Yes, well, thank you for having me. I think we're all asking ourselves now in Israel whether it is going to escalate, because in less than 12 hours, there was 2 assassinations. One is one of the heads of Hezbollah in Beirut, in Lebanon, and then the number 1 head of Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, as you mentioned, on Tehran, like on the soil of Iran. So the question now we're asking ourselves is whether this is going to escalate. But the matter of fact is Israel just couldn't have not react to the massacre, to the murder of 12 innocent children in a soccer game up north in the Golan Heights on the last Saturday. So that was basically, although Israel hasn't taken any responsibility for this assassination, this was the response of the massacre of the 12 Israeli children playing soccer and being murdered by a rocket of Hezbollah. So at the moment, all of us in Israel are basically hoping to get some sort of peace, some sort of an end to this war, but I don't think the war will end until Hamas will surrender, until the Gaza Strip will be completely cleared out of anyone who is a member of Hamas terror organization. And also, we are being threatened by thousands of rockets being sent to us from Lebanon, from Hezbollah up north. And the one who's in charge to all of these proxies is basically Iran. Iran is the one funding it. Iran is the one planning it. So I think it's sending out a clear message from Israel and from the Israeli intelligence. We can reach you wherever you are, and we can find you wherever you are. In the recent few months, Israel has taken down 5 out of 6 heads of Hamas. So I think it's an enormous achievement in any scale.
Is there a fear of perhaps controlled aggression on part of Iran?
I think the major concern at the moment is that Iran will start shooting at Israel. We've seen that a few months ago when Iran was launching hundreds of missiles towards Israel. We got major help from the US Army and from the British Army to intercept most of the rockets in the air before it even entered Israeli territory. But I think at the moment, that's the biggest concern. You can feel the tension in Israel. You can see the citizens of Israel trying to stay as close to shelter because basically we're not sure how Iran or Lebanon will respond to this thing. But I think it was crucial. It was crucial to take down the heads of this horrific, murderous terror organization who on October 7th create this launch against Israel, murdered 1,200 innocent Israelis, abducted 240. Half of them are still being held in the Gaza Strip, women, babies, children, and until they will release all of our hostages, we will not see an end to this war.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. But the bigger question certainly is that he was a state guest who has been killed in Tehran, and that's the reason why we are trying to understand what's going to be the immediate fallout of this. Shifting focus to our last story on left, right, and center. Union Minister of Road Transport and Highways Nitin Gadkari has requested Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to withdraw the 18% goods and services tax, that is the GST, on life and medical insurance premiums. In fact, he has written a letter to the Finance Minister, and Mr. Gadkari has said that levying GST on life insurance premiums amounts to levying tax on the uncertainties of life. The union feels that the person who covers the risk of life's uncertainties to give protection to the family should not be levied tax on the premium to purchase cover against this risk. Sources say the Finance Ministry is considering this proposal. Here's a special report by NDTV, Pragati Oberoi.
Yes, right. So Nitin Gadkari writes a letter to Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. A copy of that letter has been reviewed by our team, which is dated 28th of July. In the letter, he has requested Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to remove GST on life and medical insurance premiums. Now, a couple of arguments have been listed in the letter, and two of them that really stood out was the letter states that Mr. Gadkari wrote that 18% GST, which is currently applied to both types of premiums, penalizes individuals seeking to protect themselves and their families. In fact, the high tax rate, as Mr. Gadkari said, also discourages people from investing in medical insurance, which is a necessity in the current world. Now, the letter has been written, and as it has mentioned in the document, after Nagpur Divisional Life Insurance Corporation Employees Union submitted a memorandum to Mr. Gadkari, and hence he wrote this letter to Finance Minister seeking the removal of this GST on these two products on priority, because he also said that the process is now becoming cumbersome for all individuals in order to seek preferential treatment and other things as necessary. Now, while a reply from Finance Ministry is awaited, the letter also lists that the memorandum that was submitted to Mr. Gadkari also pointed out that the differential treatment to savings by way of life insurance is also being witnessed.
With that, we have come to the end of this show. I'll be seeing you tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching.
लोन मिलेगा या नहीं, ये आपके क्रेडिट स्कोर पर डिपेंड करता है। आज ही जाइए पैसाबाजार.com पर और अपना क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक कीजिए फ्री में, क्योंकि लोन की जरूरत किसी को भी कभी भी पड़ सकती है। चल एक्टिंग तोड़ भेज बनो। पैसाबाजार.com।
लोन मिलेगा या नहीं, ये आपके क्रेडिट स्कोर पे डिपेंड करता है। तो आज ही पैसाबाजार.com पर जाइए और अपना क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक कीजिए फ्री में, क्योंकि लोन की जरूरत कभी भी किसी को भी पड़ सकती है। बस एक्टिंग करा लो इनसे। पैसाबाजार.com, क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक, आदत अच्छी है।
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
लोन मिलेगा या नहीं, ये आपके क्रेडिट स्कोर पे डिपेंड करता है। तो आज ही अपना क्रेडिट स्कोर चेक करें फ्री में पैसाबाजार.com पर। लोन की जरूरत कभी भी किसी को भी पड़ सकती है। ठीक से ओपन नहीं। पैसाबाजार.com।
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. 10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. Banega Swasth India. One world hygiene.
The biggest democratic exercise in the world. Team NDTV covers it from ground zero.
BJP really had to fight a tough election this time.
Unprecedented exercise. Unmatched coverage.
There is no dispute. जनता को decide करना है.
From polling to counting, NDTV brought you the most trustworthy news and updates. Elections mean NDTV.
After great victory by Indian team, and today we are reporting from Mohali International Airport where we are showing these visuals. Arshdeep हमारे साथ हैं.
वो परफॉर्मेंस आई सारा नहीं थे बढ़िया रिजल्ट्स मिले.
We are in the city of Kanpur today because they have their champion back home, Kuldeep Yadav.
Desperation for each and everyone to go there and win the World Cup, and we did it.
NDTV proudly upholds its legacy of trust and credibility. According to the prestigious Reuters Institute's Digital News Report 2024, NDTV is the top-most news platform in the country. Number one in both online and offline reach in India. Beating all its competition, NDTV stands for trust. Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. "10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. बनेगा स्वस्थ इंडिया, वन वर्ल्ड हाइजीन.
The biggest democratic exercise in the world.
Team witnessed rains. At least 10 flights headed to Delhi were diverted over a period of half an hour. These flight diversions, of course, were specifically for the flights coming into Delhi. Traffic Department as well as the Met Department has issued advisories telling people to stay at home for safety.
ये नज़ारा है मेहरौली के पास कुतुब मीनार मेट्रो का. आप देख सकते हैं यहाँ पे सैकड़ों गाड़ियाँ पड़ी खड़ी हैं करीब पिछले 2 घंटे से. ऑलमोस्ट यहाँ नदी बन चुकी है और मैं भी यहाँ पे फंसा हूँ पिछले 1 घंटे से. ये कुतुब मीनार मेट्रो है और यहाँ पर आप देख सकते हैं कि इतने सारे लोग खड़े हैं जो कि 2-3 घंटे से लोग ऐसे ही खड़े हैं और रॉन्ग साइड में लोग घुसा दिए हैं गाड़ी. ये कतार गाड़ी की 1-2 किलोमीटर लंबी है और ऑलमोस्ट तालाब जितना पानी है.
Right, let me go across to my colleague Ishika for more on this. Ishika, in terms of the airport operations, what's the latest that we know?
Well, in fact, as you rightly mentioned, there has been a heavy, heavy rainfall in different parts of the national capital. And because of that, in fact, the flight operations also have been effective. In fact, let me tell you that from 7:30 to 8 p.m., that is in only 30 minutes, 10, flights have been diverted, out of which, 8 flights have been diverted to Jaipur and 2 flights have been diverted to Lucknow. This also, in fact, includes, one international flight of Air India. So certainly the flight operations have been badly impacted because of this. Over to you.
Ishika, stay with us as we also take other aspects of the story. In fact, we'll also show our viewers the visuals which are coming in from old Rajinder Nagar. This, of course, just 3 days after the deaths of those students had in fact been reported from old Rajinder Nagar because of flooding at a basement. Now, the road outside that particular coaching center is waterlogged once again. AAP MLA Durgesh Pathak in fact visited that area with MCD officials. The Delhi LG has also posted saying officials are monitoring areas prone to waterlogging, specifically those roads which are housing coaching centers. Remember, students have in fact been protesting, claiming that it's not just that one particular coaching center which was operating out of that basement which got flooded during the rains over the weekend, but there have been several unsafe norms being followed by coaching centers at different areas in the national capital where flooding is in fact being reported. Let me ask this question to Ishika about this particular area in Old Rajinder Nagar before I go back to my colleague Vishal. Ishika, so we can see the visuals are coming in from Old Rajinder Nagar as well. Students once again agitated about the fact that days have gone, but the drainage in that area is still a problem. We can see that the road outside that particular coaching center, after a few hours of rains, is waterlogged once again.
Well, yes, certainly, a very unfortunate picture rather coming from old Rajendra Nagar. Just few days ago, we did see that how 3 students had lost their life, after which, several assurances were given to the protesting students that in fact, the desiltations of the drains there will be done. But now, in fact, we are seeing that the similar picture coming here. In fact, the entire area of the old Rajendra Nagar has once again been flooded. In fact, we also have the visuals of how, students there, even continue to protest till now, and they continue to ask as to where are the MCD officials who had assured that the drains will be desilted. Now, as you rightly mentioned, we are also now seeing that the MLA from that area, that is Durgesh Pathak, has also now reached that spot with the team of the MCD officials, and is trying to, to remove the water logging. But certainly, the picture there continues. But let me also tell you that amid all this, the Lieutenant Governor, in fact, has also taken cognizance of this situation, and in fact has asked all of the officers of the various departments to be on alert, especially, in the area which houses these coaching centers. Over to you.
Ishika, thank you so much for joining us with that. Let me go across to my colleague Vishal now, who is outside in the national capital. Vishal, you were reporting from close to Mehrauli in South Delhi, and there was, of course, already traffic people wading through the water which had gathered on the streets over there. What's the situation at the moment? Has the rain let up for a bit? What's the traffic situation like around you?
Well, let's just say the whole city has come to a standstill. It looks exactly like that. To give you a first-person perspective, I'll just show you how it is right now at the moment. There are a few, maybe my camera is a little blurred because it's still raining, but I'll try to show you through my selfie camera. All the traffic, like it's come to a standstill. It's been almost 3 hours, and almost a 2-kilometer line, a long line is there, and the traffic has not moved. You can see some of the buses moving a little bit, but they have been stuck here for at least the last 2-3 hours. Hundreds of thousands of people are probably stuck in the South Delhi area. This whole road, I'll show you the road. This whole road is completely flooded. This stretch is about 1 kilometer long, and all the vehicles there have been stuck there for more than 2-3 hours, and it's almost impossible to move across to the other side because even the part near the foot overbridge, even that is submerged fully. People are having too many difficulties, and I've seen 2 or 3 people fainting because they have been overstressed in this situation. But right now, you can see, if my camera allows the visual, that some of the vehicles are moving now. They had been stuck here for more than 2-3 hours. There are also police personnel here trying to, calm the situation down. But it shows how such a big city like Delhi, the capital of India, it has literally come to a standstill because of lack of proper infrastructure. There have been some kind of arrangements from. There were a few machines deployed to take the water out, but since it's been raining non-stop, it hasn't really done any mitigation to the whole situation. The situation here remains quite tense. As you can see, people there have been standing here for the last 2-3 hours at least. The traffic has slightly moved in the last 5-10 minutes since we started speaking.
Right.
But still, the overall situation remains tense, and the water level is rising as we speak.
Right, the national capital gridlocked once again. The visuals on your screen tell the story. Traffic jams after just a few hours of rains. Vishal, stay safe. Please stay safe while reporting on the impact of heavy rains. There's a red alert in the national capital. Met Department has warned of heavy rains over the next few hours. Meanwhile, shifting our focus back to the coaching center horror case in Delhi, the student protests have intensified, with the students now demanding written assurance from authorities of ensuring safety at the centers. Remember, 3 students drowned at the basement of a coaching center in Delhi over the weekend. Delhi Minister Atishi today visited students at the protest site, assuring that even senior-most civic officials, if found guilty, won't be spared.
Angry students up in the arms in the capital.
Delhi Minister Atishi was booed by the protesting students as she visited the protest site at Rajinder Nagar, which saw 3 tragic deaths due to flooding at the coaching centre. Atishi promised action and a magisterial probe into the tragedy. 5 days have passed since the tragic deaths of 3 UPSC aspirants. Students' patience is wearing thin. They are demanding answers and accountability. The Additional Commissioner of the MCD, Tariq Thomas, telling students that there are no excuses for what's happened. The students are on a hunger strike. Some students took a sip of water after the MCD Additional Commissioner assured a meeting with the MCD Commissioner. The students, however, did not break their hunger strike. Students were taken away in 2 buses for the meeting while police officials began clearing the protest site. Students alleged they were forcibly being removed.
यहाँ से प्रोटेस्ट जबरदस्ती हमसे हटाया जा रहा है, फोर्सफुली हटाया जा रहा है, जो कि बहुत गलत है। ये हमारे राइट्स का वायलेशन हो रहा है यहाँ पे।
While the Delhi High Court has summoned the MCD Commissioner and asked tough questions for the civic authorities at large, faculty members spoke to NDTV and demanded that students' demand to be fulfilled so that they can concentrate on their studies. While BJP has been protesting against the Aam Aadmi Party government, Delhi Minister Atishi has said the Delhi government will bring a law to regulate coaching centres' infrastructure and fee. Bureau Report, NDTV.
On to another one of our headline stories, and with over 150 bodies recovered, the rescue teams are battling all odds in Kerala, including heavy rains, to carry out the search and relief operations in Wayanad. From makeshift bridge to dog squads, Pratibha Raman tracks the teams and the strategies adopted in their relief efforts.
The incessant rain continues to be a challenge, but the NDRF, SDRF defence teams are continuing undeterred. The Air Force too is distributing relief material to those stranded. A dog squad is also helping looking for buried. As the death toll continues to climb, politics over the catastrophe has escalated.
That is politics. I am being sent to here not play politics, to inquire about the need of the people and help them. And I am not going to do any political activities here. From the side of PM, I am instructed that to do help the people and whatever is needed, report there.
People are being shifted to safer ground on ropeways. A makeshift bridge is being assembled for easier access.
No,
One
yes.
is definitely the weather conditions.
Yes. Weather is not in our favor. I have told you.
Right.
So I pray to God that no raining make here.
Mundkai, the epicenter of the landslides, bore remnants of the disaster that wiped away several homes, villages and lives. Several plantation workers have been rescued, but many bodies were also found. For the Kerala government, is this a lesson learnt?
So, the depth of the issue is very wide and larger. So, we have to face all these one by one, and we have to protect the life and help the injured. Then we have to be proper medical facilities, food, etc.
Red alert continues to get issued in this region. With heavy rains lashing this part of town, most of the relief teams are worried that this could trigger another landslide. As water levels continue to rise, there are hundreds who still are lying buried in the depths. Challenges continue to mount. With camera person Govind, Pratibha Raman at Wayanad for NDTV.
And there was also politics over Wayanad landslides. Union Home Minister Amit Shah said in Parliament today that the centre had warned Kerala government at least a week in advance that there had in fact been multiple warnings to Kerala about landslides in Wayanad. However, Kerala Chief Minister contested the charge, saying that the centre's warning was inadequate and that the red alert for Wayanad was issued after the landslides.
23 जुलाई को
केरल सरकार को अर्ली वार्निंग भारत सरकार की ओर से दी गई थी 23 जुलाई को, 7 दिन पहले, फिर 24 को गई, फिर 25 को गई, 26 तारीख को मान्यवर ये कहा गया कि 20 सेंटीमीटर से ज्यादा वर्षा होगी, भारी वर्षा होगी, लैंडस्लाइड होने की संभावना है, मड भी रस होकर आ सकता है और लोग इसके अंदर दबकर मर भी सकते हैं.
കേന്ദ്ര ആഭ്യന്തരമന്ത്രി ഇങ്ങനെയൊരു മുന്നറിയിപ്പ് നൽകിയിരുന്നു. എന്നിട്ട് കേരളം എന്താണ് ചെയ്തത് എന്നൊരു ചോദ്യമാണ് ചോദിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളത്. ഇവിടെ വസ്തുതകളെല്ലാം എല്ലാവർക്കും അറിയാവുന്നതാണല്ലോ. അവിടെ 115നും 204 മില്ലിമീറ്ററിനും ഇടയിൽ മഴ പെയ്യും എന്നായിരുന്നു കേന്ദ്ര കാലാവസ്ഥാ കേന്ദ്രത്തിന്റെ മുന്നറിയിപ്പ്. ഇന്നലെ ഞാൻ അതിലൊരു ഭാഗം പറഞ്ഞതാണ്. എന്നാൽ എത്ര മഴയാണ് പെയ്തത്? ആദ്യത്തെ 24 മണിക്കൂറിനുള്ളിൽ 200 മില്ലിമീറ്റർ, അടുത്ത 24 മണിക്കൂറിനുള്ളിൽ 372 മില്ലിമീറ്റർ മഴ. ഇതാണ് ഈ പ്രദേശത്ത് പെയ്തത്. അപ്പോൾ 48 മണിക്കൂറിനുള്ളിൽ 572 മില്ലിമീറ്റർ മഴയാണ് പെയ്തത്. അപ്പോൾ മുന്നറിയിപ്പ് നൽകിയതിലും എത്രയോ അധികമായിരുന്നു അത്.
Meanwhile, the chairman of Adani Group, Gautam Adani, donated 5 crore rupees to the Kerala Chief Minister's Distress Relief Fund as Wayanad landslides claimed over 150 lives. Gautam Adani expressed his condolences in a post on X, and I quote, "Deeply saddened by the tragic loss of life in Wayanad, my heart goes out to the affected families. The Adani Group stands in solidarity with Kerala during this difficult time," unquote. Kerala Chief Minister Vijayan, in fact, thanked Adani Group for their helping hand.
കഴിഞ്ഞ ദിവസം സൂചിപ്പിച്ചതുപോലെ നാടിനെ പുനർനിർമ്മിക്കേണ്ടത് നമ്മുടെ ഓരോരുത്തരുടെയും ഉത്തരവാദിത്വമാണ്. സഹായഹസ്തങ്ങളുമായി എല്ലാ മേഖലയിൽ നിന്നും സുമനസ്സുകൾ മുന്നോട്ട് വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. വിഴിഞ്ഞം പോർട്ട് അദാനി ഗ്രൂപ്പും 5 കോടി രൂപ സഹായ വാഗ്ദാനം നൽകിയിട്ടുണ്ട്.
On that note, we'll head into a short break at this point in time. Stay tuned to NDTV.
Co-powered by the world comes together at Shah University. Where are you?
After great victory by Indian team, and today we are reporting from Mohali International Airport where we are showing these visuals. Arshdeep हमारे साथ है.
वो परफॉर्मेंस आई सारा दी से बढ़िया रिजल्ट्स मिले.
We are in the city of Kanpur today because they have their champion back home, Kuldeep Yadav.
Desperation for each and everyone to go there and win the World Cup, and we did it.
NDTV proudly upholds its legacy of trust and credibility. According to the prestigious Reuters Institute's Digital News Report 2024, NDTV is the top most news platform in the country. Number 1 in both online and offline reach in India. Beating all its competition, NDTV stands for trust. Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. 10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society, and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. बनेगा स्वस्थ इंडिया, one world hygiene.
The biggest democratic exercise in the world. Team NDTV covers it from ground zero.
BJP really had to fight a tough election this time.
Unprecedented exercise.
Nuclear reactor. The prototype fast breeder reactor located near Chennai has finally got approval from India's atomic regulator to start loading the nuclear fuel and then to go ahead and initiate the control chain reaction. Recently, Prime Minister Narendra Modi took stock of its progress. NDTV science editor Pallav Bagla caught up with the nuclear chief of India, Dr. A.K. Mohanty, to understand more about this atomic Akshay Patra.
Dr. Mohanty, on the fast breeder reactor, which has been in the making for 20 years and is one of a kind in the reactor, what is the big development and how soon can we see power from the reactor?
See, the fast breeder reactor, we have started the fuel loading since yesterday, and in another 45 days to 60 days time, we will be approaching the criticality where the chain reaction will be sustainable. And thereafter, we will be increasing the power step by step, going up to the 500 megawatt electrical. And this is, as you rightly said, this is the first of its kinds, and we will be the second country in the whole world, other than Russia, who is having such a power reactor.
Is it a complex technology?
It is a very complex and challenging technology because we have to fill with 1150 tons of sodium, which will be in the liquid state, and it has to be managed very well. Technology has to be mastered, and in addition to that, there are pumps which will be also working in the sodium itself. It's a very, very challenging technology.
So what is the fuel and why is it called fast and why is it called breeder?
See here, the fuel we are using a mixture of uranium and plutonium. So when the fission undergoes, it creates energy which is responsible for power production, and at the same time it creates a neutron which is required further for maintaining a chain reaction. This neutron energy is high, speed is high, and in normal PHWR reactors, they are thermal reactors, we slow down the speed, but here we don't slow it down. So that's why it is called a fast reactor. And being it fast reactor, we will be breeding more fuel than we will be using.
Meaning it generates more fuel than it consumes.
Yes. For example, this PFBR, we use a technical term called breeding ratio of 1.1. It would mean that after each cycle, we will be creating 10% more fuel than we will be consuming.
Which is very rare.
Which is not possible in other reactors.
Is it correct if we call the prototype fast breeder reactor the Akshay Patra for energy?
You are absolutely right, because technically whatever you are producing, you are not producing more energy, but you are producing more fuel. So it is like Akshay Patra, it is not getting vanished.
In New Delhi, Pallav Bagla for NDTV.
Well, sports news now, and India's shooting star Manu Bhaker has scripted history by winning 2 medals at the same Olympics. NDTV's Osama Shah caught up with Manu's family in Haryana as the nation celebrates this feat.
We are here at Goria, a very small village near Jhajjar. Now you'll ask, why is it so special? Well, I'll tell you why. Because this is where the champion Manu Bhaker comes from. And I'm here with the family of Manu Bhaker. Manu Bhaker's Dadi, her uncles, all of them, great uncle, all of them are here to talk to us about this historic feat that Manu has achieved. सबसे पहले आप लोगों को बहुत बहुत बधाई. आप लोगों ये एक बहुत ही ऐतिहासिक मेडल जीता है. एक ही नहीं 2 मेडल्स जीते हैं, और वो भी एक ही ओलंपिक में. पहली एथलीट ऐसी बनी है आज़ाद भारत में जिन्होंने इस तरह का अचीव किया है. कितना कितना बड़ा अचीवमेंट आप लोगों के हिसाब से है? दादी सबसे पहले आप बताइए।
हाँ जी, क्या बताऊँ?
आप बताइए, आप ये बताइए कि आपको कैसा लग रहा है अभी?
मेरे को बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है। हमारी बेटी बहुत अच्छा काम करे, बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है।
आप क्या सोचते हैं सर? क्या किस तरह की फीलिंग्स थी उस समय जब वो इवेंट चल रहा था? पहले दोनों इवेंट्स के बारे में बताइएगा, जो पहला इवेंट था और जो सिंगल्स का था और ये वाला।
देख रहे थे जी लाइव, अपने वहाँ घर पे देख रहे थे पहले इवेंट में, और कभी अप कभी डाउन, जैसे फर्स्ट सेकंड से फर्स्ट थर्ड जाती थी, कभी थर्ड से सेकंड पे आती थी, तो मैं बड़ा भावुक हो गया था। आप जैसे जो मीडिया कर्मी या पत्रकार बंधु आए हुए थे, तो मेरा गला भी रुंध सा गया था उनको इंटरव्यू देते हुए। और फिर बाद में जब वो फाइनलाइज हुआ तो मैं बड़ा प्रसन्न हुआ, मेरा मन बड़ा आह्लादित हुआ, और मैं खुशी से बहुत ही रोमांचित हो गया कि आज हमारी बिटिया ने पूरे गांव का, पूरे स्टेट का और इंडिया का नाम रोशन किया है।
सर यहाँ पे आप बता रहे थे कि इन्होंने मनु ने अपना जो शूटिंग का जो प्रैक्टिस और करियर जो शुरू किया है वो यहीं से शुरू किया है। किस उम्र से स्टार्ट किया, कहाँ जाती थी, कैसे प्रैक्टिस करती थी, उसके बारे में बताइएगा।
हाँ, वो जो है पहले थे दूसरे गेम में चल रही थी, जैसे ताइक्वांडो है, मार्शल आर्ट है, और बॉक्सिंग में भी थोड़ा सा किया था। ताइक्वांडो में तो नेशनल लेवल पर वो विनर भी रही थी। फिर 2015-17 की बात है, 16-17 की, मैं कंफर्म नहीं हूँ कि वो 15 साल की होगी या 15.5 साल की, तब यहाँ स्कूल में शूटिंग रेंज का यहाँ थोड़ा सा छोटी रेंज बनाई थी 10 मीटर की। तो मैंने सजेस्ट किया रामकिशन जी को कि भैया एक बार इसमें मनु को ट्राई कर लो, एंड सी परफॉर्म वेरी वेल दैट टाइम। जो स्टूडेंट उस टाइम जो 6 महीने से प्रैक्टिस कर रहे थे, उन स्टूडेंट्स में उसने सबसे अच्छा वो है टारगेट दिया। तो जो कोच थे उस टाइम यहीं के थे, पास के एक रिटायर्ड फौजी थे, जाखड़, उन्होंने कहा कि भाई ये लड़की ज़रूर इसमें निकल सकती है, और 6 महीने के दौरान ही वो नेशनल लेवल तक और इंटरनेशनल ISSF के जो वो होते हैं उसमें वो सक्सेस हो गई थी।
And with that, it's a wrap from my side. Keep watching NDTV.
Co-powered by the world comes together at Sharda University. Where are you?
Just came around to say hello. One-on-one, I'm so fly. You took a nosedive. Careful when you play on my life.
After great victory by Indian team, and today we are reporting from Mohali International Airport where we are showing these visuals. Arshdeep हमारे साथ है।
बहुत ही परफॉर्मेंस आई सारा दी से बढ़िया रिजल्ट्स मिले।
We are in the city of Kanpur today because they have their champion back home, Kuldeep Yadav.
The aspiration for each and everyone to go there and win the World Cup, and we did it.
NDTV proudly upholds its legacy of trust and credibility. According to the prestigious Reuters Institute's Digital News Report 2024, NDTV is the top-most news platform in the country. Number 1 in both online and offline reach in India. Beating all its competition, NDTV stands for trust. Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. 10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the
out that BJP's comment on Rahul Gandhi has given a caste colour, leading to former Punjab Chief Minister Charanjit Singh Channi moving a privilege motion against the Prime Minister himself. Caste census debate certainly has cast a shadow on the Parliament. We have a very interesting and high-profile panel lined up for you. Joining me on the show, Nalin Kohli, spokesperson of the BJP. We have Madhu Yakshi Gaur, spokesperson of the Congress. Neerja Chaudhary, senior journalist. Before I bring in the politicians, Neerja Chaudhary, what really is happening in Parliament?
Well, it's the 18th Lok Sabha, you're absolutely right, is turning out to be much more confrontationist than one had expected. We thought, now that the BJP does not have a majority on its own, it may deploy different tactics to handle its allies, which they managed to do, and to handle a very strident opposition, which the opposition is getting more and more strident by the day. And of course, this thing on the caste census, and with Anurag Thakur talking about Rahul Gandhi, obviously he was talking about Rahul Gandhi when he said some people did not know about their caste. What he was referring to, we don't know. Was he trying to say Rahul Gandhi at the end of the day is not a Hindu, he has a Catholic mother and a father who's half Brahmin and half Parsi. So I don't know what the implicit intention of Anurag Thakur's words were. But it's led to a big, with the Prime Minister then calling it a must-see video. The Prime Minister entered the picture also, a privilege motion. Former Chief Minister Channi also jumping in. So all in all, it looks like, it's become a major caste census that the opposition has been batting for, has come center stage once again.
And then Nalin Kohli, does it give the Treasury benches a platform to explain its position on caste census? Because whatever said and done, this was a narrative that the opposition had tried to build during the elections, the Lok Sabha polls, and that led to some damage for you in a number of states.
So, Maria, I'll take a few minutes because I'll divide my response into 3 or 4 separate segments. First, to answer the last part of your question, I'm not sure, and maybe being 22 years formally in the party and 32 years associated, I don't take election results and analysis so lightly, because when you go deeper, the factors turn out to be much more different than what the first brush seems to indicate. So I think I'll hold my horses to say whether the caste census was the issue, because in 2004, and Neerja ji would well remember, everyone said India shining cost to Atalji's government. And we lost in all the villages. The fact is we won in rural India and lost in urban India, which was contrary to what was the general belief. So that's first part. Second is, with regard to the situation here, I think you reap what you sow. I mean, basically, the opposition has gone on an aggression and the government has responded in the same term. Now, it's for the tempers to cool down. That's for parliamentary procedure. But I don't think the opposition can expect that if Mr. Rahul Gandhi shows and says, where is the SC in the photograph of the halwa ceremony or whatever, then he has to first answer where are the SCs or the STs or the Dalits in, say, the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation or in every budget meeting starting from the Congress era. Because we don't see them there either. So you really can't wake up one day as a new convert and say, I'm now the new messiah for a certain stand which I have no belief in.
Yes.
And that brings me to the larger question. Mr. Rahul Gandhi is now holding for the first time a position. He's been, in my estimate, about 20 years in public life that I've seen him.
Yes.
And he's never been a minister, he's been not. He's mostly been seen as, he will lead the Congress because of being born into the first family. But he's holding an important position, a very important position, the leader of opposition. And he needs to therefore decide how would he like to be seen as the leader of opposition. Would he like to see it from a script to script sent out on a daily basis to set up a so-called agenda that is very good for Twitter, social media,
many would say
whatever.
that we've just started. So
will be questioned whether it has the gravitas of any real intent. That is for him to decide.
As well.
And it's not going to change how the government works.
Okay, Madhu Yakshi Gaur is completely in a new get-up today. Madhu, why has the Congress brought in the Prime Minister? Prime Minister had just shared Anurag Thakur's speech and had said it's must hear. So why should it lead to Mr. Channi saying that it's, sharing the speech is being described as highly abusive and unconstitutional tirade?
Maria, thank you. I know I'm in a new look, but same old thought. Madhugaud Yaski knows the problem of SC/ST BCs, not Anurag Thakur or Nalin Kohli. They don't understand the problems. Anurag Thakur just played one match becoming an BCCI president, and his brother and his family ruling it. Just because he's a CM's son, he could able to get that position. What he used, BJP, Maria, from the beginning against the reservations. They talked about Pandit Nehruji's, but it is Pandit Nehru who appointed Kaka Kalelkar committee in 1953. Even when BJP, Janata Party, Morarji Desai Mandal Commission and appointed, it is on the insistence of Mulayam Singh Yadav and those BC leaders in that committee. And Charan Singh Ji accepted it. Did ever BJP ask Srimati Indira Gandhi to implement Mandal Commission report? No. So the BJP always against the caste reservations, right from their party like RSS to Bajrang Dal, VHP, keep on talking about we have to abolish the reservations. Why we are bringing Prime Minister here by sharing that reflects what Anurag Thakur has said it. So Prime Minister claims to be BC leader. Sri Nirmala Sitharaman in the House says that he is the BC Prime Minister. What he has done in the last 10 years, Maria? Nothing. He provided reservation to the 10% for the upper caste, but nothing to the BCs. I give a clear example. There used to be a BC fellowship in the universities. They've reduced to 350 postdoctoral fellowships for BC community in entire country. So what Mr. Modi has done is nothing to the BCs, but he claims to be BC Prime Minister, belong to OBC community, and that's how he garnered the votes and to becoming Prime Minister. So they keep on asking at why Mr. Kohli just now said it, why Mr. Gandhi is asking now. A leader should change as per the current contemporary political situation. The people, because I belong to that community, Maria, now the people belong to SC/ST BC communities asking and fighting across the country for caste census. They wanted to know their due share in the national assets. And Mr. Gandhi reflecting the mood of the people. So Telangana has been carved out because when the people of Telangana fighting for separate state. So you can't keep on saying, oh, your previous party leaders were against it or for it. So Mr. Gandhi is reflecting the mood of the current people.
Okay, so according to Madhu Yakshi God, whatever is playing out in Parliament, particularly the statement of Rahul Gandhi, is reflecting the mood of the nation. On the contrary, you heard also